essentially done.
The man did what he was supposed to do. You haven't finished your job.
But revelations could crash his plans.
His response was, I do not want Social Security to know that I'm running this business. I want it to be under the radar.
So you collect Social Security disability?
I do.
Got it.
Judge Judy.
You are about to enter the courtroom of Judge Judith Scheindlin. This is Judge Judy.
Jeffrey Turner is suing his former co-worker, Marcus Montgomery, for failing to build his website.
Order. All rise. It's case number 294 on the calendar in the matter of Turner versus Montgomery.
Thank you.
You're welcome, Judge. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated.
Mr. Turner, you hired the defendant to set up a website for a business that you were contemplating. The business was some sort of selling T-shirts. You paid him some upfront money, and then you made another payment to him and claimed that he didn't set up the website for you. You want your money back.
Correct.
That's what the case is about. Mr. Montgomery said he spent innumerable hours working on your website. He had people working on the website, and the reason it never came to fruition is because you didn't provide him with certain data that he needed in order to complete the job. First, let's start out by saying I know very little about setting up a website. So I'm going to do this in a relatively simplistic way for me so that I understand it. When did you hire him to build this website for you?
August 31st, 2015.
And how much did you pay him at that time?
At that time was $1,800.
And then you made an additional payment to him.
Correct.
On what date?
September the 15th, 2015.
Now, when you paid him the additional amount of money, which was what sum?
$1,695.
I assume, sir, that you looked to see what he had done so far.
There was no.
You didn't? Well, if I gave somebody $1,800 and they said they needed the balance of the money, I would say, let me see what you did so far. And you didn't do that.
Correct.
Why?
I was on the understanding that the $1,800 was needed for his two people that were working on the team, and I, at that point, was part of phase one. And
well, that part of phase one, but in September, should have had something for you to look at.
I did have a under construction site that was put up.
Could I see it? And you could show me what you did for him, too, up until September 15th.
Yes.
Thank you. Okay, and it's called Sportswear Alley?
Correct.
And you were going to sell caps, junior athletic wear, outdoor sportswear?
No, it was just football jerseys, Your Honor.
So like this?
Correct, Your Honor.
Okay, great. Oh. Did you ever see these?
No, I did not, Your Honor.
Sportswear Alley, Coach's Corner. It only costs $25 a month. What is that?
That was something that Jeff and I discussed, where he would have an insider report for fanatical football fans, people that are really into football. They would get injury reports on the week. They would get team forecasts and other information about what their team of choice was doing.
Did you ever show him these?
No, he never asked to see them. And the thing is those jerseys did not go up until February of this year, because he didn't give me the list of jerseys he wanted. And here's the email from him, Your Honor. The date is February 9th of 2016. 5.5 months later is when I get the list of jerseys that he wanted done.
Terrific. Do you remember sending this to him in February?
Yes, yes, I do, Your Honor. And that was the list of the 100 jerseys that he was supplying.
So in February, you had this communication with him. You supplied him with the jerseys. As a result of that, you did this?
I've done the whole thing, Your Honor. There's 8 pages of jerseys. The whole 100 have been loaded. The problem is I got that this year in February. It was done by March. The whole problem with this is the site is essentially done, but he has never provided me a payment method to where someone can pay and they'll get a jersey. I mean, he hasn't given me something that will...
So is what you're telling me that at this point, the only thing you need from the plaintiff, because the site is completed, is for him to open an account with Visa, for instance,
and that was...
or MasterCard or PayPal or whatever people use these days. What is it, Bitcoin or whatever else it is, and say, this is the way you have to pay for your jersey. Am I correct? I don't know. I've never ordered anything
Sounds
online.
right.
So is that what you're missing?
Yes, that's one thing I'm missing, Your Honor. But here's the whole issue. When we first started this, I told Jeff, I need you to go down to Secretary of State, take the name Sportswear Alley, get a DBA, go to your bank, and open up an account. His response was, I do not want Social Security to know that I'm running this business. I want it to be under the radar. That's why he would not provide that, and he tried to get a prepaid card, I guess, and the card has never worked. So that's one thing I need. The second thing I need is to know what type of jerseys these are. A default price of $5, and you'll see there's no description.
Oh, I understand. How old are you, sir?
I am 53 years old.
Well, you're certainly much too young to collect Social Security, so you collect Social Security disability.
I do.
And how long have you been collecting Social Security?
25 years, Your Honor.
And if you make a certain amount of money, that disability stops.
That is correct, Your Honor.
Got it. Got it.
Your Honor, I supplied a card for him.
What kind of card,
It was
sir?
a debit card. The plan was that, in even thinking about building this, is that I wanted to eventually challenge myself to get off of Social Security.
Well, that's very nice, but then you should have taken his advice. The first thing you have to do is register your name.
Oh.
The next thing you have to do is go and open a bank account in the name of that LLC, corporation, or whatever it is, so that if people want to purchase something, they know that you are a legitimate company.
Understand?
He says that the site is ready. Is the site ready except for the billing method?
The billing method?
And the price of the jerseys.
Price, and also I need to know if they're going to be embroidered jerseys, mesh jerseys. There needs to be a description under each jersey of what it is so the customer knows what they're buying. He's never provided that. On the first 2 pages, he's supposed to give it, and I'll put it up for him.
Okay, fine. So what you're here for, Mr. Turner, is a premature action. The first thing you have to do is register the name. Have you done that? The answer is yes or no.
No, Your Honor.
Well, you have to do that. Secretary of State, wherever that is, will research the name and see if that name is available. You don't even know if that name is available. What if somebody else has the name Sportswear Alley?
Sportswear Alley got picked up and then released because it was taken hostage, Your Honor.
What does that
What I
mean?
mean by taken hostage is that the name was taken and held for sale for $570 on the...
Mr. Turner, are you saying that the domain name...
The domain name.
Domain name...
Correct.
Somebody owns it, and they wanted money for it when you went to GoDaddy? I mean, I understand that. I've done that. I understand. Somebody explained that to me. You're here prematurely, sir. The man did what he was supposed to do. You haven't finished your job. Then, if he doesn't deliver the website after you give him what he needs, you can come back. But you have to register the name. You have to go and open a bank account. You have to say who owns Sportswear Alley, because Secretary of State's going to know who the shareholders are in Sportswear Alley. We're going to be, business takes off, or even if it doesn't take off big, if it takes off little, then the Secretary of State will notify the federal government, and the federal government will say, well, he's evident clearly Mr. Turner is not so disabled because he's running a business and he's making money. So you have to provide the defendant what he needs to finish your website. Do you understand?
I understand. Can I interject something, Your Honor?
All I want to know is, do you understand what you have to provide him?
Yes, I...
Good. Did you provide him those things?
I have not. On August the 28th, I went over. I wanted to see and prove over the past year before I filed this. I wanted to see and prove what he had. And he said, I can't show you that.
Oh, I'd like to see it. Can you show it to me?
Yeah, I can show you.
Great.
And, Your Honor, one of the problems with Jeff just showing up at my house...
No, I don't care about that. Just show me what you have. So just so that we're clear, while he's looking for that, Mr. Turner, what he needs from you is a legitimate method of payment, which requires you taking several steps which you haven't done. Second, he requires the price of each shirt, and he requires a description of each shirt, whether they're cotton, whether they're mesh, whether they're solid, whether they're embroidered. And if you say, I provided him with that information, show me when you provided it to him.
This is just the front page, Your Honor. You can hit the side, and it'll take a tab. It'll take you. And that domain, sportswearalley.com, I currently own that domain, so I don't know what he's talking about.
Okay, so you own it, but you're prepared to give it to him.
Yeah, I don't want it.
Okay, fine.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And later today,
I don't think she really moved out May 19th because that means that she moved out in between our birthdays.
Did you take her out for her birthday?
No, ma'am.
Was she still living in your house at the end
Yes,
of
ma'am.
May?
Yes, Your Honor.
See, Usually men don't have a memory for that. Got it?
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Jeffrey Turner says former co-worker Marcus Montgomery never completed the website he paid him to build.
Now, what do I do? Up and down or side to side?
Yeah, you can go up and down, and then you can get on the side to go to different. And all 8 divisions that he wanted, all 100 jerseys, are on this site. They just don't have any description and don't have any pricing.
By the way, where are you going to get these jerseys from, Mr. Turner?
Mr. Montgomery was supposed to negotiate with manufacturers as to where, because I don't have the slightest idea where I was to get these from. He told me when I went over there, he might have a place in China that might be able to.
So what have you done in the past year?
In the past year, I have been waiting on seeing the set, showing product.
Okay, that's what you have to do. I've already told you what you have to do. Your case is dismissed, Mr. Turner. Without prejudice, you can come back once you've complied with everything that he says he needs, which are 3 things. A proper method of billing, which is recognized by the Secretary of State in the state where you live, the price of the T-shirts, and a description of the T-shirts. Do you understand?
I understand.
Good. We're done.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
I feel that he didn't do his due diligence to find out what is entailed in starting a business.
Sounds like I've more money of an investment.
And the licensure is a big deal.
That's one of the things that that was shown.
It's prohibitively expensive to start it.
After I had given the money.
And I think you should have researched that before you...
because I was going into it blindly.
Before he jumped in with both feet.
And now, the next case.
All parties in the matter of Simpson versus Mullins. Step forward.
Doris Simpson is suing her ex-boyfriend, Ulysses Mullins, for unpaid rent, hotel costs, and a broken tablet.
Miss Simpson, the defendant took you in with your children, is that right?
Yes.
And you had a relationship with him for several months?
Incorrect, but
How
yes.
long?
About 3 months.
And during that 3-month period, you and your kids lived in his... You have a home or an apartment?
Apartment.
Mullins.
I was in my own residence in Burnsville.
And what happened with that residence?
When I met the party, we agreed to move in together, and so I gave up my home to move in with him.
So you were paying rent?
Yes.
In what month did you move in with him?
At the beginning of April.
What?
Can I please say something? I just wanted to clarify, Your Honor, when me and Ms. Simpson met, she was actually in transition from moving from her place in Burnsville. And when she moved in, her and her family moved in with me, they were actually living in this hotel, and she was paying like $80, $90 a week. I told her she can help me, we can...
Just a second. Were you living in a hotel?
Yes.
How many children do you have?
2.
How old are they?
8 and 3. But at that time, I only had 1 child, and that was the 2-year-old.
Okay. Did you pay him any rent in April?
No, I didn't.
Did you pay him any rent in May?
Yes.
How much?
$215.
Is that correct?
No, ma'am.
Did she pay you any rent in May?
No, ma'am.
What about in June?
Yes, ma'am.
How much rent did she pay you in June?
She paid me a total of $400.
What date in June?
June, let's say the middle of June, June 15th.
Do you know when you paid him
Yes,
money?
it was in the middle of May.
And then there came a time when Mr. Mullins asked you and your children to leave.
Yes.
Okay. Moved back into the house with
I
your
did
children?
not.
Did you ever stay over at the defendant's house? He's looking at you.
No, I did not.
Is that right?
No, Your Honor, that's not true.
I have proof that I was not in his home overnight.
I'd like to see it.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Doris Simpson says ex-boyfriend Ulysses Mullins owes for rent, hotel costs, and a broken tablet.
How long after the $400 did he ask you to leave?
The money was given around May, maybe the 19th, and then I came back for a couple of days, and then I was put out.
I don't know what you want.
Well, I'm asking for my rent because for June, and I gave him a total of $400 altogether, and that was for May and June. It wasn't no $400 for June. So I did pay rent for May and June, and I'm suing for the June part because I was kicked out at the end of May.
You didn't pay any rent in April.
No, I didn't.
You lived there April and May, 2 months.
Partially of May.
Well, on what date did you leave in May?
Oh, May 19th, I'm sorry.
Is that when she left?
Yes, Your Honor, that sounds about right, but she also moved back in shortly after that, and also...
Just a minute, when did she move back in?
To be honest, I don't think she really moved out our birthdays, and she was still living with me for her birthday into June. Her birthday is at the end of May, mine is in the beginning. And this is my first time hearing about May 19th. And she moved in my home in February.
Okay.
So I want to say she moved out in June.
How much was she supposed to pay you in rent?
The agreement that we had was when she do get situated, it was going to be $200 a month towards the rent. And then, you know, I think we talked about like...
Fine.
Yes.
$200 for rent. When's your birthday?
My birthday's on May the 29th.
Did you take her out for her birthday?
No, ma'am.
Was she still living in your house?
Yes, ma'am.
In the end of May?
Yes, Your Honor, I'm sorry.
See, usually men don't have a memory for that. Got it?
Yes.
Okay. So you were living there minimally for 2 months. He said you actually moved in February.
No.
You say you moved in the beginning of April.
Yes.
But you paid him no rent in April.
Yes.
And you paid him $400 in May, and you lived there until the end of May.
In the middle of May.
No, you were there for your birthday. He remembers that.
I was not there for my birthday.
Where were you for your birthday?
I was at a friend's house for my birthday.
How are you so certain she was there on her birthday?
I remember the day. I remember the days following up to it. And I also remember the fact that she didn't move out until maybe a week or two after that, after her
what?
birthday.
After her birthday?
Yes, Your Honor.
Tablet that you claim the defendant broke.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Closed captioning sponsored by...
Want justice? Go to judgejudy.com. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
Now I want you to tell me about this tablet that you claim the defendant broke.
Yes, I was coming over to work things out with...
On what date?
Probably the last week in August.
So you came to his house?
Yes.
Did you ever move back into the house with your children?
Not.
Did you ever stay over between the beginning of June and August? Did you ever stay over at the defendant's house? He's looking at you.
No, I did not.
Is that right?
No, Your Honor, that's not true.
Well, I have verification, so... I have proof that I was not in his home overnight.
I'd like to see it.
Okay, here you go. And prior to that, like I said, I was...
Just a second. This says that you didn't move in there until June 25th.
Right, and that's why, because I was staying with a friend when I had removed...
All this says is that you moved in there June 25th.
Right.
Okay, would you give this back to her, please? Very good. Now, he invited you over?
Yes.
Okay, you came over by yourself or with the children?
By myself.
Okay, what time?
It was maybe during the day.
What do you mean maybe during the day? What does that mean?
About 11 or 12.
Okay, and you came over, and what happened?
I was walking as he let me in his front door, because, you know, he has to come and let me in. So as he was coming in to let me in, we're walking down this long hall to get to his apartment. And kind of like halfway to his apartment, he kind of grabs my belongings out the side of my, like, on the side of me, and that's when my tablet had slipped out onto the floor / apartment into the hall.
So it fell?
Yes.
Are we finished here? Are we
No,
done?
No, Your Honor. I also have a counter suit.
Forget it. You have a counterclaim for supporting her and her children for the months she was living with you. I don't want to hear it. Two people decide to live together, it doesn't work out, they go their separate ways. She's not entitled to any rent back because your agreement was she was supposed to pay $200 a month rent, which is exactly what she did. And there was nothing vicious about what happened with your tablet that fell to the ground that was wrapped up in your sweater, right?
Yes, but he was horseplaying, though.
We're done. Goodbye. Your case is dismissed.
Why does Judge step out?
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And on the next Judge Judy.
It wasn't fair. He broke something of mine.
She actually dropped her tablet herself. She had it in her arm like this.
He should replace it. But
Gentlemen.
he was like, he'll pay for it.
She did this and it fell, and it's not my fault.
There's no more continue as a friendship.
I got to protect my heart.
I wish him the best.
It really just describes her character and her personality.
This bloody pussy mess is how this puppy came to me.
You don't know what you're doing.
Puppy problems from an inexperienced breeder.
You have a dog that's aggressive. It bites one of the puppies on the ear. The puppy eventually lost the ear.
Are more little dogs in danger?
Her selling them at 5 weeks old and lying to people.
All these babies are now AKC registered. Well, that's not true.
Judge Judy.
You are about to enter the courtroom of Judge Judith Scheindlin. This is Judge Judy.
Kara Albers is suing Kimberly Parker for breach of contract regarding the breeding of their German Shepherds.
Order. All rise. Now it's case number 313 on the calendar, the matter of Albers versus Parker.
Thank you.
You're welcome, Judge. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated. Folks, have a seat, please.
Miss Albers, what do you do?
I'm a dog groomer.
And you also breed dogs.
Occasionally.
You bought a dog from Miss Parker. When?
Approximately the middle of March, I responded to an Ocala for sale ad.
And she was selling German Shepherd puppies.
Not at the time. I just bought the adult female.
So she had an adult female for sale?
Yes, ma'am.
How old was the dog?
4.
And why were you selling her?
She didn't get along with one of my other dogs, and it was creating a safety issue.
Had you ever had a litter with her?
No.
How long had you had her since she was a puppy?
I had her about a year and a half.
Who did you get her from?
I got her from a breeder who had, believe her original story was that she had been returned. Someone was going to breed her, but then they had some kind of home issues, so they returned the dog. So the woman who bred her sold her to me.
So you got her when she was 2.5?
Yes.
And you never bred her?
No.
Well, why didn't you have her neutered within the year and a half that you had her?
I had attempted to breed her, but it didn't take for whatever reason. But if I had spayed her, then her price would have gone up as well. And then
what do you mean her price would have gone up as well?
Because it costs more to spay her, so I would have had to cover the cost of the spay, and also it's easier to microchip them if they do that all while they're getting spayed. And
how much did you pay for her?
$1,000, but I got her in package with another dog. He actually was returned to the breeder. She wanted him back. She had first rights or whatever, and she called me up. One of her males had died, and she wanted that one back, so I agreed to give him back to her.
Okay, this is what happened. This is what this lawsuit is about. You, who have absolutely no idea what you're doing, decided to breed this dog.
Yes, ma'am.
And when you sold this dog to her, did you enter into a contract with her?
The original...
Just a second. That's either a yes or a no. Did you enter into a contract with her?
Yes.
In writing, as breeders do. I know. I bought many. And if you're buying a dog, they will either sell a dog as a pet, and it's at a certain price. If you're buying a dog for the purpose of breeding the dog and you want the papers, it's a different price, and that's in writing. So my question is, did you have a written contract with her?
We didn't write it down because when she finished paying for the dog, it was supposed to be the bill of sale as well.
So show it to me.
She never signed it because she never finished paying for the dog.
How much was the dog?
The dog was $150 on an Ocala for sale website, which I have.
Can I see
the actual?
So you were selling the dog for $150?
Yes, for a pet
Just
only.
a second. You were selling the dog for $150. How much did you, Miss Albers, how much did you pay her?
I paid at a later date, and when...
Did you ever pay her
Yes.
the $150?
Yes, I did.
Okay, so you got your $150 for the dog that you say you sold as a pet.
No, actually, because when we went outside, she gave me the money, and I put it in my pocket because I didn't want to count it there. We went outside, and it was a $20 bill with a bunch of ones in the middle, and when I asked her about it, she said it was because she didn't want Gary to know that the insurance on their Suburban had expired and that she needed to pay the insurance on that, and she didn't want him to know because he didn't know the insurance had left.
So she gave you $50,
So
and how
she
much
gave me $25 plus, so $24.
So she actually paid you $75 for
Yes.
the dog. I believe her. I actually believe her. Nobody makes up that kind of story.
Well,
Put your hand down.
Yes.
I had...
First of all, you have no business breeding dogs if you know nothing about it. Okay, so what you did was you took this dog, and then later you called her up and said you wanted to use one of her male dogs as a stud. You agreed to that. I don't care what excuse you're going to make. You agreed to that because she didn't come over in the middle of the night and put the two dogs together. You agreed to let her use dog as stud. Now, what you say is you usually get pick of litter for that unless you get a stud fee. She agreed to pick of litter, but you said to her, because I sold the dog to you as a pet, and now you want to breed the dog and make... That's actually perfectly reasonable. And she consented to that.
Yes.
So you get 2 from the litter. Now you have this litter of puppies that you have no idea what to do with them, and now you have a dog that's demonstrated that it was aggressive, that's never been successfully bred, and the first thing it does is it bites one of the puppies on the ear. And it bites that puppy so badly so that the puppy eventually lost the ear, right?
Yes.
And that's one of the puppies that you took or not?
Yes, it is.
Just a second. It's one of the puppies that you took.
That she surrendered to me because she couldn't get him veterinary care.
Just a second. At some point, did you go to the house to look at the puppies?
I did go to...
On what date?
The same day that she surrendered the first...
What date?
Oh, what date was that?
October 3rd.
Do you remember?
October 3rd.
And when had your dog had the litter?
On September the 4th and 5th.
How many?
7.
All living?
Oh, yes. It took like a day and a half to deliver.
Okay. A month later, you noticed that one of the puppies had been bitten by the mother.
Yes,
And you called her?
Yes.
And asked her to come over?
No.
What did you do?
I asked her, what can I do? Because I know she was a groomer and works for a vet. And it was really early in the morning. She was apparently getting ready to go to work. And she asked me to meet her roommate at their house, which I did. We drove to his house.
With the puppy?
Yes.
And what did you do?
I gave it to him. He was supposedly supposed to meet. Apparently, he did go there, but Ms. Parker called me back and said that it was out of her expertise because he was too severe. So we were calling around different vets. I was calling. I called my friend up to get some money. And then she said, well, meet my other friend. So we met her at Dunkin' Donuts, which is the witness, at Dunkin' Donuts on Pine Street. We gave the puppy to her. She supposedly was supposed to take it. I had a vision that she had some veterinary skills as well.
Whatever. You had no idea. You and your husband had no idea what to do. I mean, it's a month-old puppy.
Well,
you can find a vet. It will cost you. Listen to me. Listen to me. You can find a vet, Miss Albers.
Yes.
All it is, it will cost you money.
Yes.
Now, when you gave her your puppy that was injured on your watch,
yes,
how much money did you give her to take care of the vet bill?
I asked her to provide me a vet bill, and she never did.
Just
I
a
had
second.
full intentions to pay it.
Just a second. If you had full intentions of paying it, then what did you need to meet her in Dunkin' Donuts?
Because she asked me to take it to her vet, because she works there.
Just a second. She wouldn't have even known the puppy was injured if you
told her
didn't
that
call her.
morning.
What did you have to call her for? I'm thinking, if I'm breeding the puppies and they're 4 weeks old, they're not just born, they're 4 weeks old, and one of them is injured, I put it in my car without a lot of drama, and I take it to the vet. Who had seen these puppies in the 4 weeks that they were born?
Nobody.
Nobody saw them. Nobody told you these are the puppy shots that the dog should have. So you didn't take the puppies to a vet. And was pregnant.
No. I went to get her x-rayed, and I decided not to. They told me they had to do
Just a sec. Don't tell me what they told you. The answer is you never took the dog to a vet.
No.
So when you found out the puppy was pregnant, you said, I could deal with this myself.
Yes.
And you never took the dog to a vet, and you never took the puppies to a vet. And when one of the puppies was injured, you didn't take the puppy to a vet. You called her.
Because she works for a vet, so I figured...
Doesn't matter.
I took her to my vet, but she said take it to hers.
You could take the puppy to her vet. All you needed was money.
I did have money.
Well, I don't see you spending any money.
No, because I asked her for a vet bill, and she never provided me one.
I'm going to ask you a couple of other questions before I say to you, goodbye. You had several puppies that you sold.
3.
How old were they when you sold them?
8 weeks. I'd gotten the money...
Just a second. You sold them at 8 weeks. What was the name and address of the vet that you took the puppies to for their first shots to be dewormed before you sold them? The name of the vet. There are only 2 things you can say. This is the name of the vet, and this is where the vet is, or I didn't take them to a vet before I sold them.
I did not take them to a vet before I sold them because I bought them.
You have no business breeding dogs. You don't know what you're doing. And it's particularly frustrating for that it's the person that has the responsibility to take a puppy and have it checked out, give it its first puppy shot, make sure it doesn't have parvovirus, make sure it can go out. It's all of these things. You can't just stand there and say, well, I think I'm going to do this. That's ridiculous. You sold 3 puppies. As far as I'm concerned, you had no right to do that. How much did you sell the puppies for?
I sold one of them for $800 because of our agreement.
Just a second. You sold one for $800, and that's one.
The other 2 were for $5.
And it cost you no money.
That's not true, because I bought their shots at a feed store, which actually Miss Parker suggested I could do, and Tractor Supply was a call, and I also bought the dewormer.
Just a second. You don't know what you're doing.
Feed store sells parvo shot virus. It's $8, and they come and you do it yourself, like giving an insulin shot.
If somebody shows you what to do, if you go to a vet and you get some instruction, not from somebody who runs a feed store.
Well, it says it in the envelope when you buy the shot.
Please give me a break.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
The injury was made worse by the fact that she didn't treat it for days. This bloody, pussy mess is how this puppy came to me.
Is that the one that you donated?
Yes, that's the one that we donated, Vincent Van Gogh.
Just a second, can I see that?
And later today...
How long have you been getting away with this kind of nonsense, but you're not going to get away with this kind of nonsense here?
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Kara Albers says Kimberly Parker breached their agreement regarding the breeding of their German Shepherds. Kimberly is countersuing for the value of 3 puppies, the return of a dog, and harassment.
Now, you have 10 seconds to tell me what you're suing her for.
Well, when we came into the agreement with the second pick of litter, I was supposed to get the papers because Kira was never...
You're not getting any papers. I hope that you don't breed the dog again.
I didn't want to.
Good. Next. What else are you suing her for?
That's it.
That's it. Good. So your case is dismissed. You have a ridiculous countersuit. You got 4 puppies, right?
Yes.
4. You got pick of litter. You got the second dog, which you are entitled to. Now, you got 2 other dogs. One has 1 ear. Did you sell that puppy?
No, we donated him to Dogs for Heroes.
So that dog you donated to someone?
Yes.
Okay. And what did you do with the 3rd dog? Was that dog also injured?
Yes. She.
How?
Her ear. I have pictures of her ear the day.
That was the second dog that...
That was the second dog that had the very severe injury to its ear. This is the picture she sent me that morning of the dog who she said the mother bit him, treated for days. She didn't tell me about it for days. This bloody, pussy mess is how this puppy came to me. It was.
Is that the one that you donated?
Yes, that's the one that we donated, Vincent Van Gogh.
And the second puppy, what did you do with the second puppy?
I still have her.
Did you sell the pick of litter?
I haven't sold him. I've had a couple of people asking about him, but I didn't want to advertise them until after the ears were mostly healed.
Did they have shots?
Yes, I have their health certificates with me here because in the state of Florida, you cannot sell a dog without the proper health certificates that they obtain at 8 weeks old from a licensed veterinarian. The shots that her and I discussed that I was originally supposed to help her with is that some breeders choose to and some don't. I'm one that does choose to give them shots at 6 weeks old because it takes 2 weeks for the immunizations to start working, and the puppies are ready for new homes at 8 weeks. So I wanted to make sure that they had, built up some immunity, and by the time they got their second shots from a licensed veterinarian. She has them advertised on Facebook at 5 weeks old saying that, oh, they're 8 weeks old and they're ready to go to new homes. I have the screenshots of her selling them at 5 weeks old and lying to people.
Can I see that?
They're still in my home, actually.
Oh, they're not, because animal control. Animal control.
I told animal control that.
These are the pictures of when she says right there that they'll be ready for homes on Halloween, and then here's her saying on October 11th that they're ready for homes now. She says that she has 1 puppy left.
Yeah, because people already paid for them, so they were not available.
Animal control went to her house.
Shh.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And later today...
What's wrong with the porch?
There was some damage on the concrete that she left.
Nonsense. This is under the sink?
Correct, Your Honor.
Nonsense. Some of the grout was coming out on the kitchen floor?
Yes, Your Honor. There was some damage.
Fix
there.
it.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Kara Albers says Kimberly Parker breached their agreement regarding the breeding of their German Shepherds. Kimberly is countersuing for the value of 3 puppies, the return of a dog, and harassment.
Okay, well, this was September 18th. All these babies are now AKC registered. Well, that's not true.
Exactly. That was after the fact. We were promised papers with our breeding agreement, second pick. And so I listed it that way. That's the only reason why I bred the dog.
Your case is dismissed. We're done here.
Some people shouldn't be dog owners, period.
No, my dog's going to get fixed, and
I didn't know the kind of person she is.
I'll never do this again because I lost so much out of this.
She's a liar and a thief.
It was unfounded because I was not being cruel to my animals.
And now I don't know what this future holds in store for my dog.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Tao versus Bradford Betts. Step forward.
Sharon Tao is suing her former landlords, Harold Bradford and Margot Betts, for the return of her security deposit.
Ms. Tao, when did you become a tenant of the defendants?
February 14, 2015.
And when did you leave?
May 30th, 2016.
According to your complaint, you had a $2,700 security deposit with the defendants. When your tenancy concluded, they returned only part of that.
Correct.
How much did they return to you?
A little over $1,500.
And I understand that you did not cash that check.
I did not.
Do you have it with you?
I do.
I'd like to see it, please. And you did not cash the check because it was not the full amount, and
Correct.
you believe that you left the house in pristine condition.
I did. I had it repainted. I had vacuumed, cleaned.
And I assume you have photographs.
I did.
Is this, Ms. Tao, is this all you received from the defendant?
Yes.
There was no itemized thing in here, no statement?
There was another part that they did give me.
Was it in the same envelope?
No, it was in a different envelope with no post date. They put it in my P.O. box.
Do you have a copy of the itemized list of what was wrong?
Yes.
A copy of that?
Yes, Your Honor.
May I see it?
Here it is right here.
Okay, good. You don't have to give it to me. She found it.
Oh, okay.
The whole thing.
But those are the zippers, Mark. Okay.
But it's not.
Would you show these photographs to the defendant, please? Okay, this is the itemized list. Let me take a look at it. Now I'd like to see your photographs.
Yes, I like to zipper these.
I took the photographs with my phone, which does have a date on the photographs.
I mean, because I'm looking at the list that you sent to her,
Right.
and it's mostly nonsense.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Closed captioning sponsored. Go to judgejudy.com. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
Okay, what's wrong with the porch?
There was some damage on the concrete that she left stain.
Nonsense. This is under the sink?
Correct, Your Honor.
Nonsense. Carpet looks perfectly fine to me. Some of the grout was coming out on the kitchen floor?
Yes, Your Honor, there was some damage
Fix
there.
it! How long have you been landlords?
I've been a landlord for 30 years, Your Honor.
Well, maybe you've been getting away with this kind of nonsense, but you're not going to get away with this kind of nonsense here. She returned this property to you according to your photographs. Broom clean. Not perhaps ready for a new tenant without having you go in there and doing a cleaning. That's what you're supposed to do. She's supposed to leave the place broom clean, no holes in the walls, no wine stains on the carpet. It's your responsibility as landlords to deliver a new place in spotless condition. It's not her responsibility to deliver your premise in a spotless condition to a new tenant. She returned this premises to you in really good shape.
The fact she left it, but we had to spend money to correct her problem. We had odor in the house. We had to paint the walls, Your Honor. We had to steam clean the carpet twice to get the odor out. We could not rent that property out to anybody else. We spent over $2,200.
That's it. Anything else?
I feel that, Your Honor, that we spend
Just a second. Just a second.
$22,500.
You take this check, cash it.
Okay.
Good. Perfect. So we're going to return that to her. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $1,300. We're done.
Thank you very much.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And on the next Judge Judy.
We definitely spent money trying to correct her problem with that unit.
They're just not really good landlords.
The unit where we had foul in the walls and in the unit. We also have dirty carpet.
They just wanted the rent.
And we spent over $2,200 in damages trying to correct that.
Stick to your guns. Get your money.
Continue being a good landlord.
You lived in the house with your kids, rent-free?
I'm the only one that has all these years been right beside her.
Her former in-laws kept her busy.
I would cook them breakfast every morning, take care of them, then I would go to work, come home.
Now, will she pay dearly for her kindness?
Your former mother-in-law says that she lent you $1,200.
She never would say I had to pay her back.
Do you have a car?
She took the car back.
Judge Judy. You are about to enter the courtroom of Judge Judith Scheindlin. This is suing her former daughter-in-law, Carolyn Knighton, for unpaid loans.
Order. All rise. This is case number 327 on the calendar in the matter of Knighton versus Knighton.
Thank you.
You're welcome, Judge. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated. Sir, have a seat.
Miss Knighton, this is your former mother-in-law.
Yes, ma'am.
Is that your ex-husband?
No, ex-brother-in-law.
And you enjoyed a close relationship with your former mother-in-law. You have a couple of kids with her son, is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
And even after you and her son separated, according to you, she was supportive of you.
Yes, ma'am.
took care of you, even took you into her house. So far, am I getting it right? So
Yes,
far?
ma'am.
Most of which she did not ask you for compensation. You lived in the house with your kids rent-free?
Yes, ma'am.
And were you working?
Yes, ma'am.
So she let you live there rent-free, and whatever you made, you were able to take care of your kids. Do you have a car?
No, I don't.
Did you?
Yes, ma'am.
But then in January of this year, your former mother-in-law says that she lent you $1,200.
Yes, ma'am.
Did she, in fact, exchange, I won't use the word give or loan, I'm going to use the word exchange with you a sum of money in January?
Yes.
How much?
It was different amounts. I'm not real sure, ma'am. It was just different times that she knew I needed money. She would call and tell me that she would give it to me. She didn't ever say I had to pay it back.
Am I correct in January? Is she correct that you didn't give her one check for $1,200?
Not a check.
Cash?
Uh-huh.
Was it at one time?
Yes.
Tell me about it, Mrs. Knighton.
Well, she was trying to get on her feet, so that she needed the $1,200 to get, well, she used it for...
No, tell me about giving her $1,200. Did you give it to her in a check, or did you give it to her in cash?
Cash.
All at one time?
Yes, ma'am.
You kept $1,200 at one lump sum in the house?
Not at my house. I had to get it out of my bank.
So you took out $1,200 in cash and gave it to her all at one time?
Yes.
She's saying no, so I want you to think, because she acknowledges you gave her money.
Yes.
But not at one time.
Well, yeah, it was at one time.
Okay. So you gave her $1,200 at one time.
Right.
Was she moving into an apartment?
Well, yes, she was getting out, moving into her own place. So whatever the apartment.
Me and my husband moved into a house.
When were you remarried?
March.
Of what year?
2016.
Okay.
My husband's left since this because of how she acts.
Don't tell me why your husband left. You never know why a man leaves.
You're right.
You moved out in January. Who did you move in with? But you weren't married then?
No. My ex-father-in-law was dying, and Papa asked us to come up there and stay, and I would cook them breakfast every morning, take care of them, do what I had to do for Papa and her. Then I would go to work, come home, still cook for them, give them their medicine. She would give me money, but she never would say I had to pay her back. I mean, it was give and take. And now that she's broke, she has Papa's passed, and I know that she is lonely, and I'm the only one that has all these years been right beside her.
Other than the $1,200, you said that you gave her another large sum of money. When was that?
$350.
That was breaks.
Shh.
That was like in June.
Yeah, something like that. But she said she would pay me back. Now, she did say she would pay me back.
It was for breaks, but she took the car back.
When
and I
did
never
she take
said I
it?
would pay her back.
When did she take the car back?
She's been trying to take it back for months, and we had...
well, whose car was it?
It was mine. I've been paying $500 a month for 3 years. Her name is on it, though, because I couldn't get it. I didn't have the credit. She signed for it and just said if I pay for it, don't let her down, and I've been paying for it every month. My husband's paid for it. We paid over $15,000. We owe like $10,000 more. And she went to the body shop and screamed, yelled, called the police, told them that I couldn't have the car.
On the car? What was it for?
The $350, she just said she needed $350.
Your name is on the title to the car.
Yes, ma'am.
You took it back? Where is the car now?
The car's still sitting at the repair place.
Since June?
No.
No.
Since Monday.
The car went into repair in June?
No.
When?
Last week. Not last week, week before. It was done Monday. Monday.
Just a second.
Oh, I'm sorry.
We're now in November. The $350 she said she gave you was in June, and it couldn't have been for brakes for the car.
No.
June, July, August.
The brakes were broke in June, but she offered...
Just a second. And is that what you needed the $350 for parts for the car?
It was, yeah, for the brakes. But she was sitting there when I was talking to my husband. She said, I'll give it to you. And she went and got the money.
In June, $350.
But she took the car back, so...
Do you have any proof that you gave her $1,200 in January?
Well, I have it right here on these. $1,200.
Your Honor, when my son was in prison, she was sending my son $1,000 PayPal cards, $800 PayPal cards. This is one reason I told her I could not be in contact with her anymore, because I called my son's PO and told him he was on drugs and the police put him in prison so he would get better. And she kept sending him money, $600.
This has nothing to do with $1,200.
Well, this is where it was taken out using the debit
I never
card.
got
There's a
$1,200.
cash withdrawal on January 14th of $1,221. Who's Billy?
That was my husband. He's deceased now.
I don't know what these...
The ones that are marked are the ones where there was money taken out for her.
I don't care about that. That's not what you're suing for.
Yeah, it's all the money. It's all the money.
No. Then we're a little confused here.
Okay.
And I'm not going to be confused. That was my question to you, whether you gave her little bits at a time, $100 here, $25 there, $122 there, or if you gave her $1,200 in one lump sum. You said you gave it to her in one lump sum. That's not indicated here, except there is a withdrawal in January for $1,221 from an account. I don't know what that's for, but all this other, I'm not interested in these things. Do you understand? She owes you so far $350, which she acknowledges you did give her in June. Anything else? Are we done?
Yes, ma'am.
Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $350. We're finished.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
I'm moving on with my life.
I can't ever trust her again. Times.
I love her, but it's time to close the chapter.
I'm going to have to cut contact with her.
And now, the next case.
All parties in the matter of Wallen versus Brown. Step forward.
Stephen Wallen is suing his ex-girlfriend, Laura Brown, for the return or value of a tractor.
Mr. Wallen, what kind of work do you do, sir?
I own a truck and I run up and down the road, basically truck driver.
And you have your own home that you own or rent?
Own.
When did you purchase it?
January of 2016.
Tell me about the house.
It's a small two-bedroom house in an older community.
On how much property?
I think it's about 75 by 100, I believe.
How many other homes are in the community?
A lot. I don't know. Hundreds.
Do you each take care of your own property, or is there a community that takes care of
it? No, you each take care of your own property.
Okay, so now I have that. And you, Miss Brown, you live in a rural area on several acres. How many acres?
I have just over 3 acres.
What do you do on this land?
It's just property.
What kind of work do you do?
I'm an accountant.
Okay, this is what the case is about. Now that I have the particulars, all the things that I need to help me resolve this case. Mr. Whelan, you and Miss Brown lived together as a couple for 9 years.
Yes.
At some time, towards the end of 2015, Miss Brown invited a friend. That friend's name is Miriam. Is that right?
She actually moved in October of 2014.
She was just a friend of yours?
She was my best friend.
Okay. And Miriam would be the first name of you. Is that right? Shortly after she moved in, Mr. Whelan and Miriam became more than friends. At some point in January of 2016, you, according to him, you locked him out. You said, I had enough. You want Miriam? You can have Miriam and me. This is not the way I'm going to live. Goodbye. So far, is that generally the Reader's Digest version?
Yes.
And now he and Miriam live together. Do you live together, Miriam?
Yes, we do.
Along with Mr. Wallen. Fine.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Did you take a truck with you is my question.
Yeah, the truck I paid for, and the house that I paid for that she's still living in.
Are you really that dumb to put a house in her name?
Yes.
Just a second. Listen, there are certain things that you can't help, and one of those things is stupid.
And later today.
I don't know why your wife was so angry with you, sir. Maybe she had a good reason to be angry with you.
She did.
Then what she wanted to do was embarrass you.
I felt that was the case, yes.
That's no question about that.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Stephen Wallen says ex-girlfriend Laura Brown. Laura is countersuing for the return of payments made on a truck.
Okay, so this is what the case is about. The two of you lived together as a couple for 9 years. Now, when you lived together as a couple, Mr. Whelan, when you got paid from your trucking business, what did you do with the money?
The money went in the bank, and Miss Brown had
checking or savings?
A joint checking account until May of 2015.
Okay, so for most of the relationship, you had a joint checking account?
Yes.
Where you put your money and she put her money?
No.
She didn't put any money in there?
She did put some. She had her own account besides.
That's okay, but she put some money in there?
Yes.
We have courts for people who get married, sir, and divorce, and then we have equitable distribution or community property. We do not have courts nor judges who are willing to waste their time for two people who choose to live together, and then when they break up for whatever reason, they want somebody else, some stranger, I am a stranger, to figure out their financial mess. We don't have that, because this is what your case is about. She locked you out of the house, and you say she won't let you take a tractor that is yours, that you paid for. She says everything was paid for sort of together. She's got a counterclaim. She says you took a truck that she made payments on, and she wants payments for those.
She neglects to mention the 2014 Jetta and the 2007 Taurus.
Just a second. I don't care. You lived together for 9 years. You shared a bank account. You left.
Not willingly.
Well, you didn't expect her to live in a situation where you had a more than friendly relationship with her best friend.
I lived with that situation for over 2 years with Miss Brown's friend, Pat.
Well, listen, if you chose to be a schlemiel and live that way, that's your issue. She chose not to be a schlemiel.
She did live that way.
Your Honor?
You're not, hey! No. You just said to me that you lived that way with her having a relationship with somebody else.
Right.
So the supposition after that statement was, well, now she could live with Miriam being under the same roof, and we all live together like I lived with Pat. And I said to you, if you chose to live like a schlemiel while she was cavorting around with Pat for 2 years, so be it. She chose not to be a schlemiel. And I just, for my own curiosity, Mr. Wallen, what would you do with a tractor?
The tractor, I plow snow with it, I mow lawn with it.
On your little 75 by 100, you going to...
The driveway needs clearing in the wintertime?
Yeah, fine. Well, you don't get it.
But I actually have the proof from the bank account that the money came from my income.
I don't care.
Apparently.
I don't care. You shared a bank 9 years, and you purchased things together for 9 years. Now you're not together anymore.
So then she gets to keep everything and I get nothing?
Oh, I don't know about that, sir.
Well, that's what we're talking about, isn't it?
No. She said you took a truck. Did you take a truck with you?
And the property in Oak Grove.
No. Did you take a truck with you is my question.
Yeah, the truck I paid for.
Just a second. That's what we're talking about. She says...
And the house that I paid for that she's still living in.
Really? Are you really that dumb to put a house in her name?
Yes.
Just a second. Well, listen, there are certain things that you can't help, and one of those things, Mr. Wallen, is stupid. I can't help you. This case is dismissed.
I was stupid.
We're done.
Excuse me, step out.
I was run out of the house.
I actually offered him the home.
She changed the locks. I couldn't get in.
Because I still care about him.
Oh, it's nowhere near done. I have about 7 more suits to file yet.
And now, the next case.
All parties in the matter of Kovac versus Goolsby. Step forward.
Kyle Kovac is suing his former friend and co-worker, James Goolsby, for damaging his car when he purposely slammed it with a metal pipe.
Mr. Kovac, you were living with Mr. Goolsby and his wife as a tenant?
Correct.
When was that Mr. Kovac came to live with you and your wife as a tenant?
The end of June.
End of June of last year?
This past year.
2015,
I'm sorry.
And then there came a time that you and your wife separated and you moved out.
That is correct, yes.
When was that?
That was July 10th of 2015.
So shortly after he moved in?
Yes.
Had you anticipated that when you took on a tenant?
Not at all, no.
And you decided to remain on as a tenant?
Yes.
You have no romantic relationship with Mr. Goldbeat's wife?
Not at all.
And I don't think that there is that suggestion, other than the fact that you clearly exercised poor judgment when, in May of this year, Miss Goolsby wanted to serve her husband with divorce papers. Does your wife work?
She does, yes.
And so she could have hired a process server, but she decided to do it herself. And she enlisted your aid to drive over to his place of business and wait outside while she went inside to serve him with divorce papers. That's what happened.
Yes.
Now, I don't know why your wife was so angry with you, sir. Maybe she had a good reason to be angry with you.
She did.
Well, if what you're telling me is she did, don't have to go into it, I get it, then what she wanted to do was embarrass you.
I felt that was the case, yes.
Absolutely. No, that's no question about that.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
The wrench hit his vehicle.
Okay.
You know, if he hadn't been there, he hadn't showed up at my place of work, none of this would have happened.
Shoulda, woulda, coulda. If your wife didn't have reason to kick you out, we wouldn't all be here.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Kyle Kovac is suing his former friend and co-worker, James Goolsby, for damaging his car when he purposely slammed it with a metal pipe.
Now, if she had good cause to ask you to leave, and she wanted to embarrass you that she would take the papers over to your place of business rather than hiring an innocuous process server to serve you at your home, something else. So she tried to embarrass you. Now, in addition to her coming in to serve you with divorce papers, the people in your office, and how many people work in your office?
There was probably about 5 people there.
And everybody in there had the ability to see that in the car there was a guy.
Correct, yes.
Now I have set the story. It is May 3rd of this year. You're waiting outside while the soon-to-be ex-Mrs. Goldsby goes in to serve him with the papers. Got the papers, he looks outside, he sees you in the car, and instead of taking the papers, you went outside.
I did, yes.
And you approached Mr. Kovac.
She went to meet him on the other side of the building and pretty much through Papa John's windows, as I parked on the other side of the building to avoid being seen. And I see him through the windows running around the north side of the building and turning the corner towards me with the metal object. And I came and swung and ended up hitting the top of my car.
How many times?
1 time.
And that's what you're suing for the damage?
Yes.
May I see the damage, please? And the estimate will be fine.
The damage.
Have an estimate?
Yep.
Yes is the answer.
Yes, sorry.
Great.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Closed captioning sponsored by...
Have you been cheated? Go to judgejudy.com. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
Okay, now, what part of the car did he hit?
Pretty much where the top of the door meets the roof of the car, almost.
Okay. Mr. Goldsby, you want to give me a different version?
Certainly. I noticed that my wife showed up.
No. We're past that.
Okay.
We're at the point where you didn't take the papers, you ran outside. In your hand, you had a wrench in your hand, because that's what you said.
Right.
Okay. Pick it up from there.
Definitely.
Somehow the wrench collided with the plaintiff's car. You want to give me your version of how that happened?
Correct, yes. What happened is when he saw me, he got out.
No, don't tell me when he saw you, because you can't tell me that he saw you.
Right.
So you came running out, and you could tell me he got out of the car.
He got out of the vehicle.
He got out of the vehicle, and? And
I feel that he was intimidated because I had this wrench in my hand. He lunged for the wrench, and in the ensuing scuffle, the wrench hit his vehicle.
Okay, you're responsible for it.
You know, if he hadn't been there, he hadn't showed up at my place of work, none of this would have happened.
Shoulda, woulda, coulda. If your wife didn't have reason to kick you out, we wouldn't all be here. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $23.83. Aye.
All you guys do is may step out.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And on the next Judge Judy.
I'm glad it's all taken care of.
I just think there were a lot of emotions involved in it.
I do feel bad, actually.
Just don't get involved in other people's business.
I'd like to rectify the situation with him. All right. All right.
You made a mess of it. And it's more than just a little wear and tear.
Her rental went to the dogs.
Tell me what kind of business you were running.
Has home become a kennel?
Would you take them to your house?
Several times, but they never stayed over the night.
I also have advertisements from her Facebook page for boarding in the home.
That's different from a dog walker, Miss Dupnick.
Judge Judy.
You are about to enter the courtroom of Judge Judith Scheindlin. This is Judge Judy.
Adam Anderson is suing his former tenant, Elizabeth Dupnick, for damages to his home as the result of her pet boarding business.
Order. All rise. Now it's case number 264 on the calendar in the matter of Anderson versus Dupnick. You're welcome, Judge. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated. Folks, have a seat.
Mr. Anderson, the defendant was a tenant of yours in a home that you own.
Correct.
When did you purchase this rental home?
April, I believe, 11th or 12th, 2014. And she moved in May 1st, 2014.
What was the rent that Ms. Dupnick was paying for the house?
$1,650.
How large is the house?
1,200 square feet.
And was she living there alone or with someone else?
She moved in with her, at the time, her 7-month-old daughter and a Labrador Retriever, her dog.
This is what you're asking for. It is your class lease that you're going to show me.
Yes, ma'am.
And the lease permitted her to live there. And she paid her rent, herself, her child, and her dog.
Correct.
And she moved out.
Yes.
And she moved out after a year?
2 years and 2 months.
And according to you, she left the property in disastrous condition because, according to you, you have evidence that she was running a business in the house, and that business involved taking care of animals in the house. And there was damage that reaches almost $3,000 you want her to pay for. Did she give you security deposit?
She did.
How much?
$1,595 for the property and an additional $300 pet deposit.
Did you return any of that money to her?
I did not.
So you have $1,895 that you had to use for repairs?
Correct.
And since I do not have a counterclaim, Ms. Dupnick, I assume you recognize that there was damage caused in the house?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Tell me, Mr. Anderson, were you aware that Ms. Dupnick was running a business in the house?
Not until I began doing some research after she had moved out based on the damages. So at the time she was living there, no.
Did you know any of the neighbors?
I did not.
Did you ever receive any complaints from any of the neighbors with regard to dogs?
I did not.
Now tell me what kind of business you were running in the house.
I have a dog walking business, and so most of the business I do doesn't come out of the house. I go to people's.
Is there a time when you do bring the animals home to your house?
There was a time that I did have foster dogs there, so I wasn't.
How many?
There's probably 4 over the time that I lived there.
At the same time?
No, not at the same time.
When?
It was spread out in between 2.5 years, so.
So you took in foster dogs?
Yes, ma'am.
You never took any of the dogs that you walked?
They never were there for any longer than like a day. I didn't board them at the house.
I didn't ask you whether you boarded them, but sometimes would you take them to your house?
I did several times, but they never stayed over the night.
I didn't ask you whether they stayed over the night, but they were there.
Yes, ma'am.
And was part of your service ever that you were a dog sitter for the day so that people could either drop their dogs off at the house and they would stay with you for the day and then their owner would pick them up?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so that's different from a dog walker, Ms. Dupnick. That's a kindergarten for dogs. How many of those clients did you have?
Only a very small amount. There was just 2.
So you had 3 dogs in the house?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, sir. Now I'm going to take a look at your lease.
Okay.
So I'd like to see and how it limits the pet.
And if I could point you to page 3, there's a line in the lease that says there are additional pets are charged at $150 per pet with $50 for each additional day.
Who's Dupnick?
It's my father.
So he guaranteed the lease?
Yes, ma'am.
Property. Would you like before and after? Or just...
Yes, I would like before and after.
These are the after. That stack is the before photos. And, Your Honor, I also have advertisements from her Facebook page with photos of the dogs in the backyard, as well as an advertisement for boarding in the home that I'd like to send
take a look at it.
So it is, let's get to that page.
That's really a lovely, clean house.
Thank you.
Did you paint the walls?
We did. Before she moved in, we repainted all the...
These are the before photographs. He didn't own the house much before you rented it, so I assume that you will agree that this is what the house looked like before. Would you tell me what these pictures are?
That's the garage with quite a bit of debris and trash left in. So part of my claim is...
Just cleanup.
Just
I just
cleanup.
didn't understand what it was. Okay, and a broken door.
Broken door. Yes, ma'am.
The cabinet came off the hinge. It was from wear and tear over 2.5 years of being there. If I had someone to help me put a hinge back, I would have done it. I just don't know how to do that myself.
You should ask your father.
He doesn't live in Austin.
What's this?
Just holes in the walls that were never repainted. They were patched but never painted. So I had to pay to have the walls repainted in the house again.
This is another picture just of the garage.
Her daughter's bedroom.
Didn't you own a vacuum cleaner?
That carpet was very bad quality, and it would snag up every single time I vacuumed.
So you didn't vacuum?
I did, but it made it very difficult. And I paid for a cleaner to come and clean the house. So I have this receipt from the maids that were supposed to come over and do a deep clean, and
Well, I don't know when they came over, but this wasn't a deep cleaning.
Well, that's why I was kind of confused, because I did pay, and I do have, like, the receipt for that.
Did you go over to the house after you paid for the deep cleaning?
I did not, because my lease was already up at that time. And I do have
this
evidence.
is just trash pickup, sir?
Yeah, broken screens from the windows and trash pickup.
There's only one screen here.
Yeah, it's mostly trash removal that I had to pay for.
Okay, so let me see the trash removal. So far, you have almost $1,900 of her money. So trash removal, getting somebody there for $250 to clean up would be a lot. They could do it in one day. I'm not seeing the rest, sir.
I'd like to provide a list or invoice from the handyman service that did all the repairs to the home. So there was quite a bit more damage than just carpet and paint and trash removal.
Well, your main items here are painting and carpeting. Replace all carpeting and install new pads. Those are the two big items. And that comes to $2,900 plus $233 to haul off the stuff. $233.
Ma'am, if I...
$31,95 is $1,263.
That's correct. The additional fees come from the prorated rent when she was not out of the home.
I have
on the first.
I have receipts from the new home that I moved into, and I paid a prorated rent to move in early there. And I have the email where I paid early to move out of that house.
When did you re-rent the premises?
I have an application for rent currently. It took lost rent from over a month of having to do these repairs. And additional fees are for smoking violations, lost garage door openers, which are all part of the petition as well that was initially filed.
Did you return the garage openers?
I had one, and I did not return it.
Why?
It got lost.
Okay, so you were hoping for the garage door opener. How much is that in the lease?
I believe it's $150.
You can take the lease back and find the paragraph.
I also have, can I call my witness, please?
I'm just asking you certain questions. You didn't return the garage doors opener because it got lost.
Yes.
And you're required to return it.
The carpet hadn't been changed since 2006 when he bought the house, and we got in touch with the selling agent because he is a real estate agent, and so they told us the last time it had been changed was 2006.
That's okay, but it didn't look like that when you moved in there.
No, ma'am.
It didn't look like that.
It did not.
Because I have the pictures. And when you have dogs running around and pet stains, that's what it looked like because the house was in pristine condition when you moved in. I wouldn't give him any money to change carpeting if it hadn't been changed in 10 years. But you made a mess of it. And it's more than just a little wear and tear. You know, you ran a business there. You ran a business. A messy business. Nice business lets you stay home with your daughter, but still a business. So far you owe him $1,313. What else, Mr. Anderson?
The other things that I'm looking for,
Don't look for anything that's going to annoy me. So far you're batting 1,000.
I'm batting 1,000. Well, thank you, ma'am.
So far you're batting 1,000.
Well, again, it was prorated rent. It was the damages that are on the inventory release form.
Forget.
There's also a supplemental invoice behind that, and some of the things that I'm not even looking for are just lost rent, the travel time.
It's not happening.
No.
It's not happening. In another country, not this country. Okay. Now, 1313. Anything else you want to say to me, Ms. Dubnik?
I don't know if I have the lease inventory sheet from when I moved in. I'm not sure if that's anything you want to look at. But there were holes in the walls when I moved in. Not big holes or anything, but there was already some stuff that wasn't completed whenever I moved into the house.
I saw the pictures
I know.
of the house.
Okay.
You acknowledge that that's what the house looked like. He didn't have it that long before he rented it to you.
Yes, ma'am.
Who were you?
My name is James Barrett. I was the real estate agent who brokered the deal. I advised my client to
No, just a second. I didn't ask you a question
yes,
yet. Who brokered the deal when she...
Yes.
And so you had seen the house when she came. And did you know her before?
I did.
For how long?
For, how old are you?
26.
26 years.
I'm not interested. Sit. Unless you have other pictures to show me. Unless you have other pictures, listen to me carefully. Unless you have other pictures to show me which suggest that the house was not in the condition that Mr. Anderson says it was when your friend moved in, and not in the condition of the pictures that he showed me when she moved out, I'm not interested in anything.
I do not have photos of the slab.
Great. We're done. 1313.
Excuse me, miss, I do have the list of the additional.
13. We're done.
Thank you.
Why is that excused? You may step out.
For one dog, a woman and her child, to cause that much damage.
I did have a couple dogs over for daycare.
It was a lot. So when I found out she was running a doggy daycare business out of there and a boarding business,
But not to an extreme extent.
It kind of all came together for me.
Just to follow the rules and... Yeah.
But obviously, you can't trust anybody to take care of a home the way that you would.
And now, the next case.
All parties in the matter of Olarte versus Westerfield. Step forward.
Lorena Olarte is suing her brother, Larry Westerfield II, for a loan to have it.
Yes.
And it is your claim that you made a loan to him?
Yes.
For some dental work. And your brother says that while he acknowledges that you paid this dental bill for him or opened up a line of credit for him, it was a gift. That was never an intention of him repaying you. And I gather from reading the papers that your mouth was in pretty bad shape.
Yes, I probably only had 8 teeth left on top. They were black and flat to the gums, and every one of them were abscessed.
Hurt.
What's that?
You had pain.
Oh, that would be an understatement.
Okay.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
someone came in and said, this is how much it's going to be to pull all the teeth and then give him dentures. And I looked at him and said, that's too much. And he looked at me, my brother did, and said, please, please do this for me. And he just kept begging me.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Lorena Olarte says her brother, Larry Westerfield II, owes for a loan for dental work.
Now, how old are you, Mr. Westerfield?
43.
How do you support yourself?
I'm an electrician now, and I wasn't working at the time, though.
And who do you live with?
Our mother.
Have you always lived with your mother?
No, I was married for a long time, and I probably moved back about a year and a half ago. She started getting bad with pacemakers and heart attacks and stuff, and I just recently moved back with her.
And how old are you, Mr. Olarte?
42.
How do you support yourself?
Right now, I'm a student, and I just lost my job in August. I get alimony and child support, and I'm looking for a job in the same line of work.
What kind of work had you been doing?
I worked with people with developmental disabilities out in the community, acclimating them to the community and helping them.
When did you make this loan to your brother for the dental work?
It was on April 6th was the dentist appointment.
Of?
2016, I'm sorry.
And at that time, your sister was or was not working?
I'm not positive, to be honest with you. We don't communicate a lot.
Well, someone communicated with her with regard to your teeth.
Oh, yeah, yes. My mother keeps in contact with everybody all the time. She's on the phone constantly.
So, was it your mother who told you about
No.
this?
He came to see me in February.
So far correct?
Yes.
There's a cheap airline that flies, and I found a really good deal. So I paid for him to come up to visit. And when I saw his mouth is when he told me about it, and he said he couldn't work because of the pain. So if he could get his mouth fixed, he would be able to go right back to work. So I flew down in April and took him to the dentist, and the dentist just said it was the worst he'd ever seen and said this is what needed to be done. He needed all his teeth pulled.
But at that point, he had no money.
He had no job at that point.
Insurance that would cover the dental
No.
work. Did you have the cash to pay for the...
No, I had to get a Care Credit One card to pay for it.
Were you working at the time?
Yes, at the time I was working.
Well, when you went to the dentist with him, tell me the conversation that you had with your brother at in the dentist's office.
Well, what happened is the dentist looked at him, and then someone came in and said, this is how much it's going to be to pull all the teeth and then give him dentures. And I looked at him and said, that's too much. I thought the dentist would let him make payments directly to the dentist. He said, we don't work like that. And I said, okay. And he looked at me, my brother did, and said, please, please, please do this for me. And I said, Larry, I can't make these payments. I still don't make a lot of money, even at the job I have. I said, I can't do it. And he's like, well, if they get fixed, I can go right back to work as soon as I'm healed. And he just kept begging me. And I said, finally, okay, Larry, but you have to promise me you make the payments. I'll make the first one for you because I know I said, you'll get the job. I'll make the first one, you heal, and then you start making them. And he said, I swear, Lori, I swear, I swear. And
so what happened, Mr. Westerfield?
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
All you have to do is take care of yourself.
I'm also a caregiver for our mother.
Well, unfortunately, that's very nice of you, but not something that you're required to do. You're required to take care of yourself, and you're required to take care of your children. Neither one of those things have you done.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Lorena Olarte says her brother, Larry Westerfield II, owes for a loan for dental work.
Now, you got your teeth. Mm-hmm. Did you go back to work?
Yeah, but it was about 2 months later because for the first month I was in pain.
Okay, so you went back to work 2 months later. So did you start to make the payments in June?
I have given her money, but...
No. Did you start to make the payments in June?
As soon as I got money, I gave her money.
You gave her? Okay, how much did you give her and when?
I don't even know. Very small amounts. I don't make a lot of money.
How much do you make? You live with your mother.
Well, yeah, but the company I work for isn't doing a lot of work right now. So I'm talking like there were some weeks it was like a 5-hour paycheck. So I think I sent $50 the first time or something.
Well, let me ask you this question, Mr. Westerfield. You have children from your marriage?
Yes.
How many?
2 of them.
How old are they?
19 and 23.
Are there any outstanding orders for child support?
I owe arrears from 2008.
And so you haven't paid child support since 2008?
Oh, no. I paid. I just owed. There was like an 8-month period I didn't work because the economy collapsed. So I owed that 8 months.
So how much do you owe?
$9,000, $10,000 or something like that.
And do you get a paycheck or a 1099?
I get a paycheck.
What was your paycheck last week?
I think it was $420.
How much did you give your sister?
We needed money for food and water and stuff. I don't even know if we have power right now, actually, to be honest with you.
Well, all the money in the world isn't going to get you power.
Well, true. They were taking cash at the store, though. They couldn't pump gas or anything, though, obviously. There's no electricity. There's trees down, power lines down. We were literally ground zero.
What was your paycheck the week before?
I think it was $212 or something like that.
How much did you give to your sister? Nothing. Okay. What's the balance left?
The balance now is, because I've been making every payment every month.
Just tell me what's left.
What's left? $33.86 is the last one I have.
May I see it, please?
All of them, or just
the last one?
The last one I have. I'm sorry, I must have left them. This is the last bill I have with me. I'm sorry. Yeah, that's the last bill.
When was the last time you gave your sister money?
It had to be about 3-4 weeks, maybe even longer.
Just say 4 weeks. How
Yes,
much did
let's
you
just
give
say
her?
that. I think it was $80.
You remember that?
No, the payment I have is on July 15th, $140. I have a copy of the money order.
Okay.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Closed captioning sponsored by.
Want justice? Go to judgejudy.com. Like us on Facebook and follow it.
You and your sister are about the same age.
Yeah.
She has children. You have grown children for whom you have at least told me that you bear no
Yes.
financial responsibility. So all you have to do is take care of yourself.
I'm also a caregiver for our mother, too.
Well,
So-
unfortunately, that's very nice of you. That's very nice of you, but not something that you're required to do. You're required to take care of yourself, and you're required to take care of your children.
Yes.
Neither one of those things have you done. Because if you're $10,000 in arrears in child support and your sister paid for your teeth, you're not doing minimally what you're supposed to do, which is to take care of yourself and the children you bring into the world. And if you're 43 and your sister's 42, your mother's not ancient. You owe your sister $35.47. Judgment for the plaintiff. We're done.
Thank you.
Party judge, excuse when they step out.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And on the next Judge Judy.
Well, I'm very thankful, exactly. But see, that's just it. I thought it was a gift.
He owed the money. It wasn't a gift. I don't know where that came from.
I mean, considering I take care of the mom, because if I don't take care of her, who's going to?
I'm a single mother. I lost my job, and I can't keep paying it.
We don't talk at all anymore. She yells at my mother. None of us talk none of us talk anymore, pretty much.
I do love my brother, and I worry about him.
I hope we can start talking again, to be honest with you.
If it's an emergency and it's health related, you have to do it.
And I hope she starts talking to her.
Appreciate it and pay you back.
Yeah, I love her.
I love you.
Me too. Still owed me the money.
A struggling mom fights for her kids.
I lost my second job because I had no child care because he left. I found out he booked a trip to Florida.
Then her ex's long-distance disruption.
Kenny is laying around the pool in Florida with his girlfriend. Kenny called the police.
I was freaking out.
His whole life is being ruled by one organ, and it is not above his neck.
Judge Judy.
You are about to enter the courtroom of Judge Judith Scheindlin. This is Judge Judy.
Lori Cole is suing her estranged mother-in-law, Judith Cole, for a false restraining order and lost wages.
Order. All rise. Yeah, it's case number 344 on the calendar in the matter of Cole versus Cole.
Thank you very much, Bert.
You're welcome, Judge. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated. Why don't you folks have a seat, please?
Happy birthday.
Thank you, Judge.
Oh, man. Laura, and it is your claim that she filed for a protective order against you, requiring you to hire an attorney, and you want her to be responsible for those attorney's fees, plus, because you say she had no basis to file for a protective order.
Correct.
She said she did. So let's get some background so that I understand. How long have you been married to the defendant's son?
18 years.
And you have children?
Yes.
How many?
3.
How old?
15, 13, and 11.
You've been separated since when?
He left on June 24th.
Of this year?
Yes.
To go where?
To pursue his relationship with his girlfriend.
So he has a girlfriend?
Yes.
Is there currently a support order?
Yes.
And what is the support order for the 3 children?
It's $1,407.
A month?
For child support, yes.
And when was that order put into place?
On October 28th, 2017.
2016.
16, I'm sorry. But prior to that, we had an agreement with our prospective lawyers that he would pay me for child support of $1,407 until we could agree upon the stipulation.
And the stipulation reflected the amount that the two lawyers had gotten together. Okay. How long prior to October 28th, when that stipulation was a month?
Sporadically. Sometimes
well,
he'd
let's
pay
talk
it or...
about it. We're not talking about that many months. He left the end of
June.
June. Did he give you any money in July?
Yes, not all of it.
How much?
$800.
And what about August?
My mother-in-law wrote a check for $1,400.
How did that come about, that she wrote you the check?
I'm not exactly sure.
Well, did you call her?
No, I did not. He handed me the check. My husband handed me the check.
Handed you a check written by your mother-in-law?
Yes. You want to see it?
No, I don't have to see it. But you had no conversation with her?
No.
No,
but
that was in
had
August.
Conversation with her.
No. But you didn't have any conversation about money in August?
No, I did not.
And it was out of her bank account?
Yes.
So far correct. In August?
I don't recall it.
Okay, well, if you don't recall, then I take her word for it that in August it was your
You
check.
wrote a check, Tom?
Sure.
I wrote it.
If you don't recall, then I have to rely on the plaintiff from her memory that the August check was written by you. You'll never know, Miss Cole Sr., where I'm going. So I would suggest you not try to figure out where I'm going. You just tell me the truth. Do we understand each other? Perfect. Now, let's go back. So now we're in September. In September, did he give you a check?
So what happened was on August 30th, I was alerted by the bank that my husband, with funds that were not supposed to be touched, our lawyers said, do not touch that money.
Was that in a joint account?
Yes.
Stand up. Did you withdraw $1,472 from a joint account
ma'am.
in August? For what?
Because she was transferring money, utilizing that money for other things. And before it all disappeared, I said, I'm withdrawing half of what was mine, half of the money that was in there.
Just a second. You had an agreement with your respective lawyers not to touch a pool of money. I think we're not going back here years of separation. So at the end of June, how much was in that account, Mr. Cole?
The end of June?
Yeah, when you left.
Nothing. Nothing.
Zero.
Yeah, I don't think there was anything.
Zero. Okay. And who put money in there in
It was a
July?
tax refund. Tax refund.
So a tax refund came in.
Correct.
In what month?
August, I believe. Yeah, August. We were in court.
So in August, tax refund went directly into the account.
Yes.
In what amount?
Just under $6,000.
So $6,000 went into the bank in August. Do you remember what date in August?
No.
Do you remember what date in August, Mrs. Cole?
I think it was between August 8th and August 10th of 2016.
And on what date did you draw out $1,472?
Towards the end of the month.
Now I want you to think very, very carefully, Mr. Cole. During that 2-week period, because you said your wife was custody of your 3 children, was using that money for other things. I would like you to itemize the other things she was using the money for so that you felt entitled to take out $1,472.
I don't know exactly what it was for.
Well, I mean, was she using it for... Just a second. Did you see money coming out for a spray tan? Or for breast augmentation?
No.
Then I'd like you to tell me what other things there were that you triggered in your mind an entitlement to remove funds from an account that a judge had said to you, don't touch.
It was the attorneys that said don't touch.
Fine, attorneys.
Okay.
Yours and hers.
And she was taking money out of the account, and before it disappeared.
Just a second. Well, so then you've changed your statement. Your first statement is she was taking out money out of the account for things that she shouldn't take money out of the account for, okay? So now you're not saying that she shouldn't have taken money out of the account for frivolous things. It could have been for other things, but you don't know what they were. So I'd like you to tell me how much money she took out of the account.
It was probably in the realm of a few hundreds of dollars.
No. You went against an agreement with your attorney, and you took $2. Now, she looks like she's got everything written down very, very carefully. You are standing there with your mother with nothing in front of you. Is it correct that in the month of July, you didn't send $1,400 for the support of your children, you sent $800 for the support of your children?
No.
How much did you send for the support of your children in the month of July?
I don't have that paperwork in front of me.
Well, where did you think you were coming today? To the beach?
We were coming to...
There's a second. Where did you think you were coming? You were coming to the beach? No, this is all leading up to what happened on the date that your former wife, and I'm not usually, if you ever watch this program, you understand, I'm an ecumenical abuser. If I think that she did the wrong thing by going to your mother's house because something was wrong with a check, I'll let her have it. But right now, I'm not getting a good vibe from your side. Because first, you tell me that you touched money that you weren't supposed to touch because she was using it for things she shouldn't have. That triggers in my mind, if I didn't ask the next question, you know, going to get gels on her nails instead of supporting your 3 children who are 15, 13, and 11, okay? And you can't support 3 goldfish on $1,400 a month. Do you understand?
Yes.
Okay. So I don't want you to think that they're living high at the Ritz on your $1,400 a month. Okay, using things that she shouldn't have. She took out some money. How much? I don't remember. A couple of $100. Well, a couple of $100 isn't $1,472. Where did you get the figure from, $1,472 that you took out of the account that was supposed to be untouched?
That was half of the balance of the tax return that was left in the account.
Okay. Is it correct that in August, half of the refund had already been utilized by you?
So when we went to sit down to discuss the stipulation, we took the tax refund and we used it for marital debt.
What marital debt?
Since he had left, the utility bills that weren't paid, the rent that was due.
And was that
school
discussed in
supplies.
the stipulation that part of the tax refund check would be used for that?
Yes.
Very easy phone call to the lawyers. Do you recall that at the stipulation settlement meeting, that part of the refund check would be used for marital debt?
Absolutely.
So she used part of that money to pay water, rent, utilities, etc. And what was left there in that little pot was $2,900, which both of you were told not to. Didn't. What she's saying is she used that money, unless you can tell me that she got gels on her nails twice a week. I asked you a question, and the question was, what did she spend the money on that was not marital debt that had already been discussed with both of your lawyers? Rent, utilities. We're not talking about a lot of money here, so.
No.
Okay, I got you. I got who we are and where we're going. Now you can sit. Now you leave your mother all by herself.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
So Kenny is laying around the pool having a drink with an umbrella in it with his girlfriend. You don't call the police. He does, from Florida. So the police arrive. The police say, well, if she was that annoying, you could file for a protective order. Right?
Right.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Laurie Cole says her estranged mother-in-law, Judith Cole, filed a false restraining order against her.
Now we're moving to September. Go ahead.
Okay, so on August 30th, 2016, he transferred out the $1,472.
Got it.
That was the day before my rent was due. So I was freaking out because I had to pay the rent.
Got it.
I have a 10-month position job because I had no child care because he left. I was a waitress. I worked on weekends. I worked 7 days a week.
Got it.
So called my mother to tell her what happened because I found out he booked a trip to Florida.
Got it.
So he left to go to Florida.
Did he discuss that with you? I'm asking you a question. Did your son discuss with you going to Florida in August?
I did not know at the time that he was going to Florida. I found out a few days later.
A few days after he left?
Yes.
Did he call you?
I called him.
Under what circumstances did you call him?
He left me with a check on August 31st for Laurie.
So he left you a check, but that check was dated what?
September 31st.
Okay. Well, we all know from second grade, 30 days have September, April, June, and November. All the rest have 31, except for February, which has 28, and sometimes 29. We all know that, right?
Of course.
I mean, he's not an idiot.
No, he's not. He's not at all.
Fine. So he left you a check that the date on it was wrong.
Yes.
When did he give you the check?
The day before, on the 31st.
Of August?
Of August, yes.
He delivered it personally?
He came and wrote it out at my kitchen table.
And at that time, he didn't tell you? Do you
wrote out
think
the
he was?
check.
Do you think he was embarrassed that he was going to Florida?
No, I don't think so.
Oh, you know, I don't believe a word you just said to me.
Thank
Mrs.
you.
Cole, do you want to know why I don't believe a word that you just said to me? I'm going to tell you. Because the previous month, according to the information that I have, because you don't remember, your son handed her physically a check that you had written out for her. So that was the custom. He handed her the check, because they haven't been separated that long. So if he's coming to your house and sitting at the kitchen table and writing out a check and putting it in an envelope and saying to you, give this to Lori, my reaction, because I have children. What's his first name?
Kenneth.
I would say, Kenny, why don't you give her the check yourself when you see the kids? And he would say, Mom, I'm going to Florida with my girlfriend. That's the way the conversation goes. Not, here, give this to Lori. I'll see you, Ma, goodbye. So I don't believe that you called him a few days later.
I called him.
You called him why?
I called him on September 1st when Lori came to my house for the
Right, she came to the house to pick up her check.
Yes.
Because you called her.
Well, her mother called me first.
Her mother called you and said, they don't have rent because your Kenny took out money from the account that he wasn't supposed to touch and took his girlfriend. Lori's check, let her come and pick it up. Is that what you said?
I said I will call her to pick it up, yes.
I will call. So you called her.
She called me and before I had time to call
Just
her.
a second. Whatever it is, she called
came.
you, which is what I
Right.
said.
Right.
Don't tell me time. She called you and said, I understand from my mother you have the check from Kenny. That's what happened. I've been doing family court work for 40 years. You think that this is new? This is not new. I've told this story 5,000 times.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
He's probably not a bad guy, your son.
Of course not.
Right now, his whole life is being ruled by one organ, and it is not above his neck.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Lori Cole has accused her estranged mother-in-law, Judith Cole, of filing a false restraining order against her.
So she came over. You gave it to her in a sealed envelope?
Yes.
And she opened the envelope in front of you?
No, she did not.
She left?
Right. It was in my mailbox for her.
Oh, so you didn't even tell her to come in?
No.
Is there any reason why?
I just didn't want to. I didn't want to be bothered because it would, and it is not my job to pay his bills. You're going to say, yes, I did in August, but the fight is between
not
him
your job.
and her and not me.
You're absolutely right. Just make sure that you don't have blinders on. You may have a 45-year-old son and you may love him. If he does the wrong thing, you have to say to him, Kenny, you're 45. I told you when you did the wrong thing when you were 3 and 6 and 10, and you're doing the wrong thing now. You made these children. She made these children. It's not like she's a bum laying in bed and eating bonbons and saying, you know, you have to take care of me. She works.
Right.
You work, and your primary responsibility right now is during this transition period with your children, since you're not here anymore, to make sure that they feel secure. And the custodial parent, which happens to be their mother, because Kenny doesn't want the children. Kenny doesn't want the children full time. He's very happy with a part-time. Well, let me ask you this question. I won't even ask you. Don't go like this. Did the stipulation provide that you share custody 50-50?
No, I'm a custodial parent. He gets them every other weekend and one day a week.
That's what men usually want when they're 45, because his girlfriend doesn't want these children around all the time. She may say, I want to be their new mother.
She won't allow
she won't.
the children to be.
She may say, I love That's all. I'd rather go to Florida. So you have to take blinders off and just look at it from a dispassionate position. All right, so now she comes over, and the check is made out for September 31st. She comes back, and she says, do something with the check. And she's angry.
Right.
What did she say to you?
She did not. She wanted me to issue her my own personal check.
No.
Just a second. Yes. Just a second. Let's say she wanted you to issue her your own personal check, and you can say to the Zindi when he comes home from Florida, You're going to reimburse me $1,407 because that's what I gave Lori for the children because you wrote the check out wrong. What's wrong with that?
I had Kenneth on the phone, and he said, Mom, you can change the date on the check because there was a 9, and it could have so easily been made into an 8 for the date, and Lori would not permit me to do it.
Well, you know, he's probably not a bad guy, your son.
Of course not.
Right. Right now, his whole life is being ruled by one organ, and it is not above his neck.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Closed captioning sponsored by.
Want justice? Go to judgejudy.com.
Now, instead of saying I'm in Florida, I don't want there to be any trouble. I wrote the check out wrong. I'll reimburse you as soon as I get back from my vacation. Write Lori a check out for the kids. I don't want her to be aggravated. So that's not what happened. And there was a whole kerfuffle. And she got aggravated and she got hot. And you didn't do anything when she got hot. She left. It was an unpleasant moment. Kenny is laying around the pool at the Fontainebleau in Florida with his girlfriend. Kenny called the police. Would that be a fair statement?
Oh, my
God.
God.
Just a second. Just say a yes or a no.
Yes.
Did you call police or did Kenny in Florida call the police?
Yes.
So Kenny is laying around the pool having a drink with an umbrella in it. You're there dealing with his problem. You don't call the police. He does, from Florida. So the police arrive. And you tell him what happened. She came here, she was annoying, she yelled at me and whatever. And according to your answer, the police said, well, if she was that annoying, you can file for a protective order, right?
Right.
So you said, she was nasty. My son is in Florida. Police said I could file for a protective order. You go and you file for a protective order. Not because you called the police and felt threatened, but because Kenny, drinking his margarita around the pool, he thought that you were threatened. So she hires a lawyer and you go to court. But she had to pay for the lawyer separately from right here. Right. How much did you pay the lawyer?
$1,783.
Judgment for the plaintiff, $1,783. We're done.
Wait.
We are done.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And on the next Judge Judy.
I'm very happy, and justice has been served.
Well, I'm very sorry she's getting anything for it, and I hope
Let's move forward.
And hopefully he'll do the right thing from now on.
Let's just move forward, put all of this behind us, and do the right thing for our kids.
A dad left in the dark.
You didn't know that she had sent the children to Minnesota?
No.
After troubling news comes to light.
There was a physical altercation between a child and him. So.
Which child?
My oldest.
Now, are their kids at risk again?
So now, he gets custody of the children that he wasn't supposed to be left alone with.
Judge Judy.
You are about to enter the courtroom of Judge Judith Scheindlin. This is Judge Judy.
Annie Linda Kugel and her son, 23-year-old Austin Koppelman Davis, and her ex-husband, David Chakua, for travel expenses and child care costs.
Order. All rise. Yeah, it's case number 343 on the calendar in the matter of Linda Kugel Koppelman versus Chakua Davis. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated. Sir, have a seat.
What is your last name?
Linda Kugel.
This is your sister.
It is.
And this gentleman is the father of your sister's children. How many children do you have?
3, sir.
Are the two of you married?
No.
This is your son?
He is.
And I assume he's here because he contributed money to this airfare?
Correct.
So I read your brief complaint and answer, and I'm trying to put the story together. Let me see, based upon some years in the family court, what I gather happened. You lived in the state of Texas.
Correct, I do.
And you live in the state of?
North Dakota.
And your 3 children were living with you in Texas.
Correct.
You started to have some difficulty, probably with a substance abuse problem.
I was diagnosed with epilepsy.
That's not what I asked you. The state doesn't usually become involved in a situation unless there is some sort of potential neglect of children. Was the family court involved? The state became involved with your children.
Yes.
And they were threatening to remove the children from your custody.
Correct.
In Texas. Okay, that's the long and short of it.
Yep.
You called your sister.
Correct.
And I'm putting this together because while the particular what you're suing for is different, the story isn't different. You called your sister and you said to your sister, unless you take custody of the children, the state's going to put them in foster care.
Yeah.
Is that what she said to you?
Yes.
So your sister paid for the children to come down to live with her.
Correct.
You put the children, how old are they?
11, 9, and 7.
Put the 3 children on a plane.
Correct.
She had gotten the tickets and you took custody of the children. When was that?
August 27th.
And when the children came to you, your sister had given you certain documentation so that you could enroll them in school.
She did.
Take care of their medical care, that she was giving you the authority to do that. Do you have that document with you?
I do.
I'd like to see it, please. This is a temporary guardianship agreement that you prepared and signed and notarized.
I did.
At some point, the children's father contacted you. When was that?
It was exactly 1 week after I had gotten the children to my house.
And how, sir, did you find... You're starting to laugh. Don't start to smile.
I'm sorry.
Don't start to smile. It's not funny.
It's not. I'm sorry.
Great. How did you find out that the children were now living in Minnesota with their aunt?
She called me when I was in church and told me that her sister had the kids and that the sister had refused to have her talk to the kids. So...
Just a minute. So she called you?
Yes.
And what did she want you to do?
She called me with a problem and she wanted me to solve it. That's typical of what she does.
So what did you do?
I was talking to my pastor and he said, oh, simple, just call the sheriff when you get there. So I called the sheriff.
We're missing a step. It's like we went from chapter 1 to chapter 3. She called you with a problem.
Yes.
You started to tell me her problem was that her sister wasn't letting her speak to the children.
Yes.
So what do you need a sheriff for?
Because the sister would not give up the kids to me.
Just a second. What does her problem with speaking to the children have to do with you getting the children?
Because when I called the sister to ask her if she had the kids, she put the kids on the phone and the kids said they didn't want to see me. So my pastor was
Just a second. So you called the
kids.
Listen to me. She called you.
Yes.
Was that the first time that you knew that the children were in Minnesota?
Yes.
You didn't know that she had sent the children to Minnesota?
No, I knew the kids were in Texas.
So that would suggest to me if a week went by, you weren't in regular contact with the children.
No, she wouldn't let me.
Don't tell me wouldn't let.
Okay.
What I'm asking you is it suggests to me that if you have 3 children and a week went by, you hadn't spoken to them in at least a week because you had no idea that they were removed from Texas and they were now in Minnesota, right?
No, I did not.
Okay. When was the last time prior to August of this year that you saw the children?
I saw them in August.
Where?
In Minnesota. No, in North Dakota, because where I live in Fargo, the border is just...
I'm not talking about Minnesota when the children were with the plaintiff. I'm talking about when the children were with their mother in Texas. When was the last time you saw them?
I did not go to Texas.
So when was the last time, month and year, that you saw the children?
I saw them in August, because that's when she moved to
Prior,
Texas.
Before August. Were you living together with her?
No, I wasn't. But
how long has it been since you've lived with the children?
Joint custody, so the kids keep moving back and forth. I moved her from Indiana to North Dakota so I could see my kids regularly.
When? Month and year? What?
I moved
February.
her.
What?
In February.
In February?
Of 2015, I moved to North Dakota.
So when the kids were in North Dakota, you saw them?
Yes.
She left North Dakota?
April.
Fine, now we have a date. You moved her there in February. She left North Dakota in April.
The following year.
April the following year?
Yes.
And went to Texas?
Correct.
Okay. Now, between April and August, April, May, June, July, and August, 5 months, did you see the children?
Yes.
Where?
They used to come to my apartment.
How did they get there from Texas?
No, in my...
From February until April, the kids went to your house every other weekend. After April, they came to Texas with me. They stayed with Texas with me and my mother.
Did he see the children?
No.
No, I did not.
For those 5 months?
No.
Why did you leave North Dakota?
There was a physical altercation between a child and him. So.
Which child?
My oldest.
Oldest, a boy or a girl?
Girl.
What kind of physical altercation?
Corporal punishment.
And did the family court become children?
Correct.
Now, at some point, you took the sheriff and went to the plaintiff's house and got the children.
Yes.
That was in August.
Yes.
That was within the same month that plaintiff paid for the children to come.
Yes.
And you were instructed to give the father the children. Now, did you have a document from the children's mother granting you any temporary custodial rights?
Oh, I had my divorce decree.
Which divorce decree? Had you been married?
Yes, we were.
So you were married. So you were married and divorced. So you had a divorce decree granting you joint custody.
Yes.
Did you tell the sheriff that there was a family court proceeding? No. Was there a protective order issued by the family court in North Dakota?
Wasn't dismissed.
There was.
Yes.
A protective order.
Correct.
Not permitting him to be alone with the children.
Yes. And then it was dismissed.
Was it dismissed after you moved to Texas? Well, there's no reason for it. I'm all over it. There's no reason for it, so somebody went in and said, we don't need a protective order anymore, the children, because I am taking the children and moving to another state. So we don't need a protective order. People are so smart. If they only used all of that cunning to do something productive, everybody would be better off. So now he gets custody of the children that he wasn't supposed to be left alone with in their home state. And what you do is you call Child Protective Services in North Dakota. I got it. Now I understand, because you were probably made aware by the 11-year-old of the proceedings in North Dakota, but she clearly must have had a law guardian representing her who thought that this whole thing was over because the mother had removed the children from a potentially dangerous situation that was not resolved by way of a trial, in all probability, but by you saying, I'm going to move away so we can take this all away. I got it. Fine. Let me explain something to you. This is why we're here today. We're here because you paid for the children to come. How much were their tickets to come to you?
$700.
For all of them?
Yes.
And how long did they remain with you?
1 week.
So actually, your out-of-pocket expense was $700.
And then I'd gone to the grocery store and...
That's all right. Your out-of-pocket expense was $700. I'm not going to do groceries for a week. Where do you live now, by the way? Where? Don't think.
Texas.
From Texas?
Correct.
Is that where you are living now?
Yes, it is.
And you are still in?
Fargo, North Dakota.
And where do the children live?
Fargo, North Dakota.
In foster care?
No, I have my 2 boys. I went to court last week, so I have.
So you have the 2 boys?
But I don't have my girl.
The girl is in foster care?
Correct.
Yes.
Since the 2 of you clearly had been in touch with each other, the 2 of you, in all probability, had something going on, but you needed the children to be removed from the jurisdiction.
Correct.
Okay.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And later today,
I mentioned the fund once she told me her son was murdered.
And they decided that your son's death did not fit within the parameters, so they turned you down. You're still obligated under this contract. You understand that?
Yes.
Well, give me the reason why you didn't pay.
real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Annie Linda Kugel and her son, Austin Koppelman, claim Annie's sister, Kiara Davis, and her ex-husband, David Chakua, owe for travel expenses and child care costs.
Now, they were going to remove the children from your custody for what? I don't know. They weren't going to let him have the children because he had this, which is either an abuse or a neglect case. So you got the children out, had the protective order dismissed. He shows up with a divorce decree. He gets custody. She's very smart. She says, I'm calling Child Protective Services. Meanwhile, she's out $700. And as far as I'm concerned, the $700 are necessities for your children, judgment for the plaintiff, in the amount of $700. We're finished. Thank you.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Your kids aren't a pawn. Your kids are lives.
I don't believe that they're used as a pawn. I love my children very dearly.
They're real people, and they need
They need to be treated like that. I will do anything and everything I can for them. Well, I hope the kids are happy and well taken care of. It's hard on our family, and this just makes it even harder.
And now, the next case.
All parties in the matter of Roberts versus Torres. Step forward.
Funeral home owner Monty Roberts is suing Cheryl Torres for unpaid funeral costs for her son.
Ms. Torres, I'm going to start with you, because I think I understand a little bit of what happened here. Your son was killed in what month and year?
February of last year.
And you went to
Excuse me, I'm sorry, in October.
Remember the date in October?
It was the 12th when they pronounced him dead.
And you went to Mr. Roberts' funeral home to make arrangements for your son's funeral?
No.
How were you referred there?
By my daughter's father.
Who had used their services before?
No, he just lives in that area, so he saw that one. So he told us about it.
And you went there. Who did you go there with?
My oldest daughter.
And you know that the plaintiff's services are not free.
Yes.
You know that.
Yes.
So you were, when you went there, prepared to pay for your son's funeral.
Yes.
Did you have a budget for the funeral?
No, they had said that it was going to be under the victim's crime.
No. I'm not talking about what he said to you once you got there.
Okay.
I'm talking about, Ms. Torres, when you went to Mr. Roberts' facility, you knew that it was a for-profit facility. This wasn't free. You weren't saying, listen, we're not going to have a funeral for him because I can't afford it. When you went there, you knew that you had to pay something.
Yes.
So what I asked you was, and I assume you knew what budget you had in your head that you were prepared to spend for your son's funeral when you went there.
Yes.
What was that budget?
Well, being that I've never done that, so I knew it's going to be a couple of thousand.
Right. So you figured it would at least be $2,000. Did you figure it might be as much as $3,000?
Yes.
Because it's expensive.
Yes.
And you were prepared to pay that.
Yes.
And then when you went to Mr. Roberts' facility,
what's that?
She met with you. Stand up. You work for Mr. Roberts?
Yes, ma'am.
You're not related to him?
I'm not.
So you met with Ms. Torres yourself?
I did.
Now, she explained the circumstances of her son's death?
It's really not my position to ask. No.
Did she discuss with you the circumstances of her son's death?
She did.
Then you can sit down. And when, Mr. Roberts, she discussed the circumstances of her son's death, were you the one who said that there is a fund for crime victims, because that's how she presented her son to you as a crime victim? There is a fund for crime victims' funeral expenses.
Yes, ma'am. In Tarrant County, there is.
So you explained that to her?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
She didn't want to have a free funeral.
Yes, that's correct.
You wanted what you considered was a proper burial.
Yes, ma'am.
Because he offered you a free service, but Ms. Torres didn't want that.
Correct.
Where were you going to get the $3,000 from?
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Funeral home owner Monty Roberts says Cheryl Torres owes for funeral costs for her son.
Now, what was the conversation that the two of you had with regard to that? Because that's what you're suing for.
Right.
You're suing for...
Buddy away. I offered her a variety of different options, including free. That would have been what's called a Tarrant County burial. It's a dignified manner in which to get somebody buried. We own a cemetery as well as a funeral home. We sponsor, in part, with that program.
Okay. She didn't want to have a free funeral.
Yes, that's correct.
That kind of funeral. That is
That's
correct. You wanted a proper burial for your son, which you considered was a proper burial.
Yes, ma'am.
Because he offered you a free service, but small, but dignified.
Dignified.
But small.
But no ceremony.
But Ms. Torres didn't want that.
Correct.
And then who mentioned this fund?
I mentioned the fund once she told me the way that she put it was her son was murdered. I wanted to make sure that she knew that there were options available, including a fund through Tarrant County for any victim of a crime. They would pay up to $5,000.
Okay. And do you have a contract with her?
Yes, ma'am, I do.
I'd like to take a look at it. Because what I assume is you did a funeral for her that she was satisfied with, but ultimately she did not get this grant.
That is correct.
Either because they did not view what happened to her son as murder, because I can't imagine if he was in fact murdered.
Correct.
But he's a crime victim, why they would not approve it.
The contract you're reading is both for funeral and cemetery.
I got it. That is your signature there, Ms. Torres, when it says buyer?
Yes.
Okay, so you understand you have a binding contract with him to pay for the funeral service.
Mhm.
You understand that?
Yes.
Well, give me the reason why you didn't pay him.
Okay. So everything was not discussed with Mr. Monty. Everything.
I don't care what was discussed. I have a contract that you signed.
Okay.
The contract is very, very simple. It says that you are purchasing this. I actually understand what happened because they probably, on your behalf, submitted your son's name, etc., to this Victims' Compensation Board for the purposes of them covering the funeral. They decided that your son's death did not fit within the parameters of what they do, so they turned you down. You're still obligated under this contract.
Yes, ma'am.
This is your. So why didn't you pay him?
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Closed captioning sponsored by.
Want justice? Go to judgejudy.com. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
Now, give me the reason why you didn't pay him.
Well, I was paying. He had hired an attorney. I did pay a couple of payments to him.
How much?
I think it was $200 or $300 that I paid to him.
And then why did you stop?
And it's not that I so much stopped. My bills weren't fitting with everything else.
But you were prepared, just for my own information, you were prepared to spend $3,000. Where were you going to get the $3,000 from?
Well, I would have tried to find it from somewhere. I mean, my family.
Right. You owe Mr. Roberts $5,000. Judgment for the plaintiff. We're done. Thank you.
Are you excused? You may step out.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And on the next Judge Judy.
It's sad that we had to come to court and do it this way.
Because there's not enough money in this world to bring back my son.
It's a tragic thing that happened.
And of course, he has a business to run, but it is right.
There's no winners.
I just know my son's at peace, so.
I'd be honored to help her again in the future if she needed my help.
And I'm even happy for Mr. Monty and what they've done for us.
I appreciate the kind words that she said.
There was stuff going on in the house that caused your neighbors to call the police.
A tenant who was too much to take?
So based on these reports, you moved to evict her?
Yes, ma'am.
I would too.
Or landlord too hard to believe?
I can't go by the house because I got chased up.
Took what they wanted.
That's a lie, Your Honor.
Listen, I find a lot about you suspect.
Judge Judy. You are about to enter the courtroom of Judge Judith Scheindlin. This is Judge Judy.
Gary Ledeen is suing his former tenant, Tammy Warburg, for damage to his rental home.
Order. All rise. Yeah, it's case number 350 on the calendar, the matter of Ledeen versus Warburg.
Thank you.
You're welcome, Judge. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated. Ladies, have a seat.
Mr. Ledeen, you have a rental property that sounds to me as if it's a house.
That's correct.
How long have you owned the house?
2 years.
And I assume you bought it as an investment property.
That is correct.
How much did you pay for it?
$110,000.
Who did you buy it from?
I got it through a settlement.
What kind of settlement?
It was with an investor that I was a business partner. We both bought the property for an investment, and we were going to turn around and we were going to flip it slow, and keep it for a little while, turn around, make some money off the resale of the house.
So it was a foreclosure?
It was a short sale.
What date did you purchase it?
It was in November of 14.
And when did you rent it to Miss Warburg's friend?
I started renting to him about 6 months after I took control of the property.
So he was your first tenant?
No,
or your second tenant?
That was second, yeah.
When did your first tenant move in?
I inherited another tenant that was there.
You bought a short sale, but there was already a tenant there.
No, when I received it through the lawsuit that I had, it was rented out to someone through Renter's Warehouse.
And when did that tenant leave? Month that
And they left about 6 months after.
And within what period of time did you rent to Miss Warburg's friend?
It would have been a year ago.
So shortly after the other people moved out?
Correct.
And Miss Warburg's friend got into some difficulty. According to you, was caught stealing or something. I don't know why, whatever the reason. But prior to that, Miss Warburg had moved in with him.
They were business partners.
You had moved in with him.
I did.
And when he left the house, you asked Mr. Ledeen if you could stay.
Yes.
And pay him rent.
Yes.
In what month and year was that?
July 2015.
And what was the rent that you were paying?
It started at $1,000 in July, and then in August it went up to $1,100, and then last July it went up to $400.
So there was never a time after the short sale that you did any work in this house, because I just had a timeline that suggests that you had no extended period of time where you could have done any work, substantial work on this house, because you inherited it through the lawsuit with a tenant. Shortly after that tenant moved out, Miss Warburg's boyfriend, his business partner moved in, and Miss Warburg was there until
October 31st. I was out completely.
Until October 31st for this year. So there was never any work done in the house by you in the timeline that you've just given me. It is your claim that Miss Warburg...
Your Honor, I did do some things to the house.
Marginal, based on the timeline you just gave me. You inherited the house with somebody in there. When they left, your business partner moved into the house. While he was living there, he invited Miss Warburg to move in with him. He moved out. She stayed on, and she was there until the end of October. So there was no time for you. I mean, when you were living there with his business partner, were they in construction in the house? Never.
But he did, okay. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt, but he evicted me illegally.
Just to say, I'm not there yet. Anyway, your lawsuit is, so you were notified, and you must have reports to show me that there was stuff going on in the house that caused your neighbors to call the police, and the police came. There was domestic violence. When you finally heard about it, you went and you found that the whole property looked like a trash house. She had vehicles parked in the front. She had a trailer in the back, in the backyard where some other people were living.
Correct.
What kind of trailer?
I wasn't there when the trailer was there.
Well, how do you know there was a trailer there?
Because of his paperwork. It was there at one point in time, but...
So there was a trailer. Well, and let's get it straight.
Yes, there was a trailer.
He has pictures?
Yes, there was a trailer.
I mean, you can make up things. You can make up things, you know, like the Wicked Witch of the North, or you'd like the Good Witch from the East, or whatever it is. But for him to say she had a trailer parked in the yard, that's not something that he makes up.
It was something to do with him and the people that were back there.
Who?
Gary.
You mean he had tenants living back there in a trailer?
He told them they could put the trailer back there.
That's a lie, Your Honor.
Hey, listen, I find a lot about you suspect. Just from the foot to foot, I find a lot about you suspect. Did you move the trailer back there?
I did not know.
Do you know who did?
I know who put the trailer back there, yes.
Who did?
Renee and Tyler.
Who is that?
It's a mutual friend.
Living in this house, his business partner.
We were just friends. His daughter also lived there, too, in the beginning. It was a 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom. I was downstairs. Fred and his daughter were upstairs.
Who lived in the trailer?
Nobody lived in the trailer. The trailer was just parked there.
Now, at some point, you moved to evict Miss Warburg. Tell me when you moved to evict her, and first tell me when, and then I'd like to see the paperwork indicating why, and the documentation.
That was September 12th, 2016.
Okay. Tell me why.
Why? I got a call from officer of the Brooklyn Park Police Department.
I'd like to see the report.
Okay. Here's the eviction notice.
No. First, I want to see the police report.
Police reports.
And
these
then?
are for abatements, and these are from the Brooklyn Park Police.
Okay, good. Who's Kathleen Marie?
It's my friend.
And Pixley was your boyfriend?
Yes.
And you had an argument with him on July 19th?
I did.
And you wanted him out of the house?
Right.
So you told your friend who was staying with you to call the police and get him out of...
She wasn't staying with me. She was there. I was at the cemetery.
No, I understand, but she had been there for a couple of days, according to the police report.
She'd been there. She'd spent the night. Yes.
And you told her to... So he didn't want to leave. You came back from the cemetery on July 19th, and then you had another fight with him, and the police came back to the house on that date. Okay. And he was off his meds, is that correct? And he did some damage inside the house.
No, he spit on the floor.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't, break anything.
According to the police report, he...
I'm not talking to you yet. And your daughter had gotten into a verbal argument with the same boyfriend back in May?
No, that was her boyfriend.
Oh, that's a different person.
Right.
Your daughter has a drug problem?
Yes, she does.
Boyfriend too?
No.
He does not?
No, he does not. He's clean and sober.
Your Honor, I have evidence that he OD'd.
That was my boyfriend.
We're talking about her daughter's boyfriend. Kathleen is the same person.
Right.
She also called the police on the 19th?
That's the same day.
Then again on July 23rd?
I believe that was Julie had called the police that day. Mm-hmm. And that was about Mariah's boyfriend. And he had showed up.
Was your daughter's boyfriend staying at the house?
No, he was not. Not at that time.
But your daughter was?
No, my daughter wasn't either. I had custody of their kids at that time.
Her kids?
Mariah's, my daughter's children, my grandchildren.
How old are they?
2 and 5.
You have them through the foster care system?
I did.
So what was she doing in the house?
She wasn't there.
What was she doing in the house?
No, in the beginning she was allowed there. It was after she didn't show up to court, and I believe that was in July or August. It was in August, and then she wasn't allowed there. But they were allowed to see the kids. Both her and Philip were. Philip's got custody of the children now.
Who does?
The father, the dad. He got them back. He did everything he had to.
Who's Renee Curtis?
She's one of the ones that put the trailer in the backyard.
And Tyler is her boyfriend?
Yes.
And he was also in the trailer?
He wasn't there that time.
But he had been in the trailer?
He had been, yeah.
So based on these reports, you moved to evict her?
Yes, ma'am.
Great. I would too.
Anybody would.
You don't have to help me. I would too.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
I mean, what I see is a whole lot of other kind of living, which is whole different than this.
It was all painted, but that's how my house looked every day. My house was beautiful.
It's not your house, it's his house.
Well, when I lived there.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Gary Ledeen says former tenant Tammy Warburg severely damaged his rental home. Tammy is countersuing for impound fees.
Okay, so you went to court. Can I see the eviction notice, please? What property did she steal?
The trailer in the back was stolen from Fridley, Minnesota.
On what date?
That happened, I believe, on the 10th of October. At that time, she was notified about the vehicles being parked all over the grass.
You have photographs of the
No,
house?
but I got evidence of the city making the complaints where they were located in the yards.
The abatement,
too. You want to see it? The abatement orders.
This is her countersuit with regard to the vehicles that were impounded. So I'm not there yet. I'll get there. At some point, when you had her evicted, you went in and you say you found damage to the home. I'd like to see the photographs of that.
Okay.
Who's the artist in your house?
That would be Pixley. But it's all painted. I mean, it's all fixed.
When?
I have pictures.
I'd like to see it.
It's airbrush. She wrote on before and after.
When was this picture taken?
That was taken before he had me evicted.
How much before he... I want to know that were living in this house, that this is the way the house looked right before you had...
That's exactly how the house looked.
I mean, what I see is a whole lot of other kind of living, which is whole different than this.
It was all painted, but that's how my house looked every day. I had two living rooms, 2 bathrooms, 3 bedrooms, a fireplace. My house was beautiful.
It's not your house, it's his house.
Well, when I lived there. And he even was there at the end of July and told me how nice it looked. He came in and used the bathroom. He knows my house was nice. He's the one who came in. He gutted the bathroom. He's doing this all for insurance. I never seen his pictures either.
Let me show them to you.
And I was packed, ready to move.
Would you give that to her?
When he had me evicted, and then just went through all my stuff and threw it in the garage in a pile. Yeah, this is what he did after he had me taken out. I have more pictures too. He went through every one of my boxes, all of my belongings, took what they wanted. He had somebody living in my house in my property.
There's a pinball machine in the bathroom.
It's in the kitchen.
It's in the kitchen. Oh, I'm sorry. It's in the kitchen.
I was getting ready to move. My whole house was packed. You can call the sheriffs. They wouldn't write me a statement. He had somebody living in the house for a week.
Would you?
Damaging. Cleaning it. Cleaning the
Cleaning
house.
it? No, they were in there destroying it. And yeah, these pictures.
And loading a
this is
dumpster.
after
Garbage.
he had me taken out. I have the order, the stay order.
Okay, so you were evicted on what date?
The sheriff's removed me October 20th.
October 20th. And October 25th, you moved back in?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and between October 20th and October 25th, what you're suggesting is that this is the way the house was?
Yes, ma'am.
And you stayed there until when?
I moved October 31st.
So you stayed there for 6 days?
I had to clean
just
my
a
stuff
second.
up.
Just a second. You stayed there for 6 days. Is this what you're telling me?
I did. I had to clean all my stuff back up. He went through everything I owned.
Did you?
Dump boxes. I have a sheriff's...
It's not true,
I have
Your Honor.
reports.
Do you have a sheriff's report?
I have.
I'd like to read it.
Okay. These are both reports that I have, that the front door was broken when I moved in, and... well, that's some of the damage he's claiming. And then the second one's when I made the report.
Do you have pictures of the house now?
I believe they're up there, Your Honor.
We're not talking about damage. You're talking about what the house looks like today.
Today, I can't go by the house because I got chased off by... He ran me down the road. This is a real story. He took off after me in his truck, and he ran me off the road.
Who did?
And then he's got a disorderly conduct for it. It was one of her guys that she had living there. And he almost smashed me into a telephone pole.
And?
The police responded.
You took pictures of the house. You were in the house. So now I want to see what the house looks like today, because you were in the house and you started to do some work on the house. Don't look at me confused. You started to do some work on the house.
Right.
I want to see what the house looks like today.
I can't go in the house today because...
Well, how did you do the work on the house, sir, in the month of November?
Well, no, I did it while she was out between the 16th and the 20th.
What did you do?
Basically started to remodel the bathroom.
So you started to do some demolition work in the bathroom?
Yeah.
And what did you do to do the demolition work in the bathroom?
Pulled some tile out.
What else did you do?
We also cleaned up the yard.
What else?
We started to clean up the whole inside of the house.
What else? What did you do with her boxes?
Boxes, nothing.
Well, what'd you do with them? They had to do something with them. You've evicted her.
Stored stuff inside the garage, yeah, but we didn't.
Stored stuff inside the garage. In the boxes?
No.
Your case is dismissed. How's that?
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Listen, you know why I dismissed your case? Because you're slippery. Because I said to you, show me the abatement order that had to do with her cars. And you said they're right there.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Gary Ledeen claims former tenant Tammy Warburg caused severe damage to his rental home.
Now I'm going to get to your countersuit. Your countersuit is for the 2 vehicles that were there that he had towed off the property.
It was 3 vehicles.
2 motorcycles?
2 motorcycles and a car.
Police officers found you a bit cagey, sir. I find you the same. I mean, I read the report. The police officer who you told you had received notification from the town that you were going to be fined if those vehicles were not removed from the premises. Police officer asked to see those. You couldn't produce them for the police officer. I know that you have them here to show me. I'd like to see them.
I gave them to you.
Can you find them for me, please?
You're referring to the abatement order?
I'm just talking about the notice from the town that you had to remove these 2
correct.
vehicles.
It's in the Brooklyn Park abatement order there. You'll find it. It's of the 18th. I had to have vehicles and such out of the yard.
18th of?
October.
Okay. Okay, so you received this, that there were bags of garbage on the ground under the Yukon and debris from the driveway. A Yukon, I mean, these are all,
They're all the
these
same
are all
vehicle.
the same, sir. And comply by May 31st, 2016. The following vehicles were observed. A GMC Yukon on jacks, inoperable. Is that one of the cars?
No, that's not one of my vehicles that were towed.
A Chevy Tahoe?
Not one of the vehicles that were towed.
Whose vehicles were these?
One belonged to Philip and one belonged to...
Who's Philip?
Philip was my daughter's boyfriend, the one that was in the police reports. But that's not the vehicles that were towed.
I don't care. It sounds like there were a lot of junk in this.
Them are both different times. Here's the abatement that he's talking about. In the one vehicle that was there Mine were all operable vehicles, and he had
I'm looking. All I'm looking here is the GMC Yukon with Minnesota plates. That's not yours.
No.
A Chevy Tahoe,
No.
which is not what you're complaining about. You want to find the abatement order for the 2 motorcycles in her car? Go look for it and find it.
I was told. I
don't care what you were told. What do you give me an abatement order that had nothing to do with the cars that she's talking about?
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Are you the victim of a scam? Go to judgejudy.com. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
Now, okay, listen, you know why I dismissed your case? Because you're slippery. Because I said to you, show me the abatement order that had to do with her cars. And you said, they're right there. They're right in front of you.
This is right there.
Well, show me. No. Show me. Those are not the 2 motorcycles in the car. That has nothing to do with 2 motorcycles in the car. Not that I read.
Earlier there's one on jack stands.
Just a second. That's not her car. That's why your case was dismissed, because you're slippery. Show me the abatement order on the 2 motorcycles and her car. Show it to me. You couldn't show it to the police. Show it to me. You said you had it. Judgment on the counterclaim for the defendant, because you had our cars towed. You had no reason to do that. The amount of $5,000. Your claim's dismissed. We're done.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And on the next Judge Judy.
She ruined my place, and she got away with it. Now she's getting paid to do it.
He's a snake in the grass. The judge saw through him.
I don't know what I'm going to do with it.
He's trying to do an insurance. I had the paperwork. I was ready to show it.
I feel upset, yeah.
Because he got me out. He didn't think I'd get back in. And I'm smarter than he is. Be careful who you rent from.
A crumbling fence divides neighbors.
What do you keep these old tires in the backyard for?
It was to support it.
You can't lean anything against his fence.
Okay.
The fence went over.
But the attitude next door
He doesn't want to be neighborly.
pushed him over the edge.
They said that they would pay for the maintenance of the fence, and they never did.
This fence doesn't need maintaining. It needs demolition.
Judge Judy.
You are about to enter the courtroom of Judge Judith Scheindlin. This is Judge Judy.
Michael Jackson is suing his neighbors, Ken and Jill Kaufman, for the cost of a fence and tree trimming.
Order. All rise. It's case number 349 on the calendar in the matter of Jackson versus Kaufman.
Thank you.
You're welcome, Judge. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated.
You 2 were neighbors.
Yes, ma'am.
You have actually a common yard.
Yes, ma'am.
And there is a fence separating the 2 houses. From what I gather, the fence is actually on your property. And your complaint is that the Kaufmans had a whole bunch of junk that they piled. As a result of that and a tree that's on their property, the fence went over. And you approached the Kaufmans and said, listen, let's split the fence, even though I asked you to remove this junk so it wouldn't keel over, and you didn't. And the Kaufman said, it's your fence. You want a fence? Put up a fence. We're not splitting the cost of the fence. Not very neighborly, but certainly within his prerogative. The next thing you did was you trimmed a tree that belongs to him.
Yes, ma'am.
A tree that was coming over on your property.
Yes, ma'am.
Something that is your right to do. You have a right to trim the tree that is encroaching on your property. He doesn't have to pay for it, because that's another part of your lawsuit. Because he says, you trimmed it. Good for you. I'm not complaining that you trimmed it, but I'm not going to pay for your trimming it because I didn't do it. So the only thing that's left here is this fence business. So now you have to show me photographs, because you would acknowledge, Mr. and Mrs. Kaufman, that if whatever you had put on your side of the fence caused the fence to go over, it would be your responsibility to reestablish the fence.
Yes.
You understand that?
Yes.
Now, I don't know whether he can establish that. If he can't establish that, he has no case. Right?
Yes, ma'am.
Let me see the pictures. Bert, did I make that clear to you? I just want to make sure that I made it clear to you.
Crystal.
Crystal, good. What do you keep these old tires in the backyard for?
I don't know what pictures you're looking at.
Oh, okay. Is this your backyard? Could you show that to me, please?
That's against our game.
That's against my gate on my front gate. That's to hold it in because I had 2 larger dogs.
Well, that's actually in
just
the
a
front.
second.
I'm
I
sorry.
can't listen to both of you. Is that not the fence he's talking about?
This is my fence. This is on my property.
Ma'am.
The fence that he's talking about in this picture is on the right side picture here.
Okay. You're talking about this wood fence?
Yes, ma'am. What, if I may, those tires and stuff were leaning against the fence, and that's a new fence there now. He put those tires, that's on his side of the fence.
I understand it's on his side of the fence, but is that your fence?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. I would like you to show me with a circle, here are your pictures back, of Kaufman's property leaning up against your fence. The Kaufman's property touching your fence. Make a circle.
This was all leaning against the fence. It was moved, I pushed it over there.
I just want to see before the fence
Yes.
went down.
Yes. That's the old fence, and that's the stuff leaning against there.
What?
The section, or what I've seen in the pictures of the fence that he has there, he had a pile of wood on his side before that, and it had gone over. I had put that up, but the part in the fence that he attempted to repair, as he states in it, is 50 feet past that. And I'm saying the part that he's talking about here on the property, it's here.
I just want to see photographs of your stuff leaning against his fence.
Okay.
You can't lean anything against his fence.
It was to support it.
I don't.
Okay.
You can't lean anything against his fence.
Okay.
Period. I can't see that at all.
That's a wine barrel, Your Honor, that he had leaning against there. There was actually 2 of them.
Oh, I'm just trying to figure out what that was. It's a rain barrel. Did this portion of the fence go down?
Yes, it did. But there was 2 wine barrels, Your Honor. And the first, that's the second one there. It fell against it as well, but they both did.
I want to see this portion of the fence where this property that can't be leaning against your part because he says it's your fence. So that caused damage. So that's what I want to see.
That did, Your Honor. Yes.
Well, I know you're telling me that, but I have to see that here. You're following me?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, good. What's that wine barrel doing there anyway, sir, just for my own information?
That section of the fence all through there, that between us, his whole fence was falling to the east on our side, and which doesn't have pictures. We had put several boards up to try to support this.
How long, Mr. Jackson, have you been living in that house?
January of '92, Your Honor.
And when you bought the house, was the fence there?
Yes, ma'am, it was.
As it is shown in this picture.
Yes, ma'am, the original fence.
It's time for a new fence.
Your Honor.
That old wood fence was going to come down at one point or another. So this is your problem, Mr. Jackson. You would like the Kaufmans to be neighborly and say, listen, this fence is 25 years old. It is an eyesore. It's old. It's rickety. Let's do the right thing as neighbors, because you've been living there also for a very long time. We'll split the cost of a fence with you.
Yes, ma'am.
That's what you would like. He doesn't want to be neighborly. Do you understand?
Yes.
So if you want to build a fence, build it on your property and pay for it. I assume that you don't want anything to do with them, so you want to have something separating the 2 homes. So do it. He doesn't have to share the cost with you, sir.
But ma'am,
this is not a new fence, I told. You had junk there. He has junk there.
Ma'am, I have no junk there at all, but I do have a lot. I retained an attorney 6 years ago, and the attorney put them on notice. They said, I have their letter, that they would pay for half the maintaining the fence.
This fence doesn't need maintaining. It needs demolition.
Right. And at that time, my son and I maintained our portion of it. We assumed that the Kaufmans would take care of theirs. They never did. Hence, it blew down. And it was that section that blew down.
What?
We did send a response letter to him, and he never communicated further.
Ms. Kaufman, I think that you and your husband are making a big mistake. I want you to understand that. There's so much tragedy going on in the world, and there's so much acrimony going on in the world. The place that you should feel as if it's a safe haven is in your home. So you've been living as neighbors for over 2 decades. Why in the world, over something that is relatively inexpensive, would you not want to be good neighbors and say, I have a home, and if my neighbor comes to me and say, you know what, this fell down, and it would be nice if we got together and put up some new trees. Will you go half with us? Sure.
Your Honor,
You think I'm going to diminish the quality of my life by having a neighbor next door who I have to put my good morning? You're ridiculous. However, he has no case. If the fence is on his property, if he wants to maintain it, he has to pay for it. What?
May I explain a little bit of history on why we're not really see eye to eye with Mr. Jackson?
No, what you have to do is you have to put a period. You can put a period to history, and you can say, you know what? You know his first name?
Yes.
Do you refer to each other by your first names?
We try to avoid him because of his complaints.
There you go. That's right. There you go. Over nonsense.
9 complaints with the county over ridiculous things that are not truths.
Well, let me tell you something, sir. I have to tell you, I don't know what you and your wife do, but I'm looking at this junk that's in your backyard. I don't know what the rest of your life is like, but I don't know why somebody would keep all this junk in their backyard. I don't know why.
That was just on one part of the side yard.
Just a second. I don't care if it... listen. I grew up with a place for everything and everything in its place, and if something is trash and you're ready to throw it out, you put it on the curb and you call sanitation. You don't put it in your backyard. You clearly think, oh, we're going to put this in the backyard. It'll look nice. This air conditioner is going to look nice in the backyard. This old barrel's going to look nice in the backyard. Well, if that's the way you want to live, fine. What I'm suggesting to you is if you try to avoid him, maybe there's a reason. And maybe you should just say, you know, enough is enough. And a first one dance with you. You have no case against them. Goodbye. We're done.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Are you excused? You may step out.
He has been in pain for 24 years.
I just hope that we can become neighbors.
You know, when you've been harassed and poked at with complaints with county.
And bury the hatchet and move on with our lives.
After a while, you sort of have to draw a line in the sand and don't take it anymore.
I plan on trying to get along with the Kaufmans as well as I can.
I wish we could have gotten along with him.
I have no ill feelings towards anybody.
But I'm not about to be his friend.
And now, the next case.
All parties in the matter of mayor versus mayor. Step forward.
Sarah Mayer is suing her sister, Nada Mayer, for the cost to repair her car. Nada is countersuing for the return of car payments and insurance premiums.
You two ladies are sisters, and you have a claim and a counterclaim, each one for $5,000. This is over a car accident that allegedly you had with your sister's car. I want to tell you both that I've read your sworn depositions, and I don't believe either one of you. Let's start out with that.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Let me understand this. So when you got the car, you weren't working?
No. I was full-time.
Come on. You see, it's not going to get easier.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Sarah Mayer is suing her sister, Nada Mayer, for the cost to repair her car. Nada is countersuing for the return of car payments and insurance premiums.
So I want you to both take a deep breath. You can have a conversation with each other, but if you're going to give me the same drivel that you gave me in your sworn complaints, this case is going to be over in 3 seconds. Do we understand each other? Now, we've traveled you here at some great expense, so I hope you enjoyed your little time in California. Now, who's going to tell me what happened with the car? Fine.
So
don't give me the CRAPQUE that you have in your answer. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
And you were smart enough to keep your mouth shut.
I'll let her talk first.
No, you were smart enough to keep your mouth shut. Go ahead.
So, Your Honor, in 2014, I did have a very bad credit, and my sister offered to help to co-sign for me and go get the... It's under my name.
Listen to me.
Sorry.
Listen to me. I don't believe the fact that you lent her a car 2 years ago, and then you took away permission to drive the car, and then she had an accident, and it was your car, and so I should give you $5,000. That's your story. I don't believe it. Okay? If you were going to tell it to me again, I just told it to you in 10 seconds. I don't believe it. What do you do for a living?
I'm a teacher.
You're a teacher. And how much do you earn?
When I got the car, I wasn't a teacher. I just started working as a teacher.
So let me understand this. So when you got the car, you weren't working?
No. I was full-time working with the DOD.
And how much were you earning? Come on. on. You see, it's not going to get easier.
70 a year?
70,000 a year. And you already had a car. So then you bought another car. Tell me why you bought 2 cars.
Your Honor, I was gonna get rid of the Ford
No.
Focus.
Tell me why you bought 2 cars. You
Your
made
Honor,
$70,000, according to you, you made $70,000 a year.
Right.
And you had a need, one person for 2 cars.
Your Honor, the Focus is salvaged. It doesn't work properly. I was gonna get rid of it, right? She has a kid. She begged me to borrow the car because she cannot go to work.
That's not true.
Car.
That is not true.
Kindness of my heart, I let you take
If
the car.
I do, why do I have payment on my credit card?
Just a second. I don't believe it.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And later today,
you live there, you don't like living there anymore, you move out.
And that was my plan the whole entire time.
Great.
But I kept being talked into staying longer.
Miss Walker, I don't care.
real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Sarah Mayer is suing her sister, Nada Mayer, for the cost to repair her car. Nada is countersuing for the return of car payments and insurance premiums.
Let me explain something to you. This is all about your insurance. Somebody didn't have insurance and you had an accident, right? And you had an accident and you say it was your car.
Yes, ma'am.
Right. And you made the payments on the car.
Yes.
How old are you?
I am 28.
Then you should have had insurance. That's what you should have had.
Well, she lied to me, Your Honor. She said, "Oh, I am paying for the car. That's why I was depositing money in her account."
Listen to me very carefully. Your case is dismissed, and your counterclaim is dismissed. Now, if you think that you can do better, where do you come from?
D.C.
I'm going to dismiss your case without
Your
fool.
Honor, Your Honor,
I'm
I have
done.
the paper.
We're finished.
Your Honor,
Good.
I have
Bye.
the paper here.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Because she's irresponsible. She's an irresponsible adult.
I did get in a car accident, but the fact that
She went and got a new car for herself, and now I'm stuck with the payment.
well, I haven't been talking to her since the accident,
I am done talking to her. I'm going to disown her.
and I will continue not. So is my whole family.
And now, the next case.
All parties in the matter of Walker versus Zollicoffer. Step forward.
Christina Walker is suing her former landlord, Jerry Zola Coffer, for the return of her security deposit and punitive damages. Jerry is countersuing for rent, property damage, and storage fees.
Miss Walker, you rented a room from the defendant. You lived there for a while. You moved out, and she kept your security deposit.
Yes, ma'am.
You want your security deposit back, which is how much? How much did you give her in security deposit?
$200.
And you're suing her for $5,000
Yes.
because you want mental anguish, punitive damages, etc. But she kept your security deposit.
Yes, ma'am.
And you have a counterclaim for unpaid rent.
That's
What
correct.
rent didn't she pay?
She did not pay for the month of June.
June.
That's correct.
When did you move out?
June 20th.
Did you pay the month of?
I have no problem with that.
Great. How much was your rent?
$650.
So you owe her $650. And your security deposit was $200.
Yes.
So that means you only owe her $450.
Yes, ma'am.
So I don't understand this lawsuit.
During my stay there, there was a lot of issues with the neighbors.
I don't care. You live there, you don't like living there anymore, you move out.
And that was my plan the whole entire time.
Great.
But I kept being talked into staying longer.
Miss Walker, I don't care.
That's
Courts
fine.
don't care. You wanted your security deposit back. Well, you're entitled to your security deposit back unless there were damages to the apartment. Did you leave the apartment damaged?
No, I actually cleaned up the place to move into it.
I don't care.
No, I
talking
did
about
not.
when you
There
left.
were already damages there. I helped prepare the house.
Okay.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Closed captioning sponsored by.
Have you been cheated? Go to judgejudy.com. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
Did you do a walkthrough with Miss Walker when she left?
I did not have the opportunity to, Your Honor. She took her things out, put the keys on the counter. Here are your keys. You can keep that security deposit. I get it. The food that I left, do whatever you want with it.
And you kept her security deposit because she left the place a mess and she left things in the house? Do you have photographs for me?
Yes.
I'd like to see them.
Okay.
Because you may not be entitled to your security deposit back, which means you'll owe her the entire $650 in rent that you didn't pay in June.
There was an issue with the refrigerator that broke. I had to throw out over $300 and something worth of food that day because I could not be there for them to put it in the refrigerator.
I have pictures of the food that was left.
I don't care about the food.
Okay.
Throw away the food. What else?
And I have a picture of the security door that I had to replace and items that she left in the yard.
The security door was because she took out a door because she said there was something wrong with the frame? Is that?
Not to my knowledge. There was nothing wrong with the frame.
Fine. She owes you $450. Can you give her back a security deposit? I'm taking off $200 from the $650 in rent she didn't pay. Are we finished? Good. Judgment on the counterclaim for $450. We're done.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And on the next Judge Judy.
Well, the defendant basically played games.
I had a tenant, gave me notice that she would be moving.
She reversed things when I asked for certain things that were going on.
Did not pay her rent.
The gate that was broken, that gate was rotted out of the wood.
When I asked for the rent, her response was to start bringing up issues that I had no idea about.
I am in a homeless shelter.
She gave me notice, so obviously she should have had something lined up.
Make sure that the landlord gives you the lease before you move in.
I feel badly for her, but, you know, we all have to pay our bills.
Her hair salon was open for business.
How many months' rent did you pay?
I don't owe him anything.
No, that's not what I asked you. That's why we're here.
But what got cut was her landlord's rent.
The only payments I did not pay this man was June, July, and August.
When you started out with me, you said, I don't owe him any rent.
I don't got time for this get-rich-quick scheme he got going on.
Don't cop an attitude.
Judge Judy.
You are about to enter the courtroom of Judge Judith Scheindlin. This is Judge Judy.
Salon owner John Thorpe is suing stylist LaTanya Rice for unpaid rent and stolen furniture.
Order. All right. It's case number 356 on the calendar in the matter of Thorpe versus Rice.
Thank you, Bert.
You're welcome, Judge. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated. Folks, have a seat, please.
Mr. Thorpe, you own a building, and in that building there is a beauty salon.
Yes, ma'am.
And you rented that beauty salon to Miss Rice.
That's correct.
It is your claim in this lawsuit that when she moved out of the salon, she moved out owing you rent, and in addition, she took some furniture that belonged to you, some chairs.
Salon furniture.
Salon furniture. I'm not exactly sure what her defense is with regard to the rent, but with regard to the furniture, it is Miss Rice's position that you told her that it was old furniture and that if she refurbished it, if she wanted to keep it, she could. She did, in fact, have the chairs reupholstered and cleaned them all up, and she took them with her when she left. That's your defense. Okay, when did you move in, Miss Rice?
I signed the lease in August.
Of what year?
2015.
And what was your rent monthly?
It started out at $525, and that's because we broke the security deposit up via 7 months. And then after the 7 months, then the rent dropped to $450.
How long did you stay there?
About a year.
When did you move out?
August.
Of 2016?
Yes, ma'am.
And how many months' rent did you pay?
I don't owe him anything.
No, that's not what I asked you. That's why we're here. Don't cop an attitude. I asked you a question. I said, how many months' rent did you pay him?
I paid him, I think, all his rent.
I don't know what you think, because we'll go through each month. You signed the lease in August. Was the lease supposed to start in September? Or August? Or October? When was it supposed to start?
I believe it started
Can I see
August.
the lease?
Yes, ma'am. I have the lease right here. I also have a schedule of the payments that she made to me as well.
It started September 1st. I'm going to show this to you, Miss Rice, because this is what Mr. Thorpe says that you paid him and the months that you paid him.
Okay, yes, ma'am.
Okay, and this starts in August 28th, 2015. He says on August 28th, 2015, you paid him $525.
Yes, ma'am.
Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
You don't have any deposits for October, November. You do have one in December for $525, so you didn't pay Those 2 months, do you have any proof that you paid those 2 months?
No, but when we signed the lease in August, the 28th, that was just early for text messages. I did give him the rent for October because Mr. John is one of them type of people. He keep you informed
Well, just a
all
second.
the way through.
Just show me that you gave him rent in October.
I don't have a receipt.
Show me the text message.
He should have had a deposit on the 9th of October. It says the money was deposited into your account. Thanks.
Just a second. That's your message to him.
Yes, I told.
Where's his message to you? Because he's asking for his money on the 9th. You say to him, I deposited the money.
Yes.
Where does he say, oh, fine, I got it?
He never responds
then
like
what
that.
do you have to do, madam? The fact that you say I deposited the money, even though it was 9 days late, I deposited the money in your bank. Show me an acknowledgement or show me something from your bank. I don't need a receipt. You have a bank.
No, I didn't have a bank account at that time.
How did you deposit the money in his bank?
Because I had his account. I had his account number.
And then you get a receipt.
And then I got
just
a receipt.
A second. Then you
then in the process of mismanagement, I lost the receipt.
No, that's
but I always send
bad.
a text message to him and let him know when I deposited the money.
I don't care. I mean, your text message, because he's asking you where my rent is, and you say, I dropped it in the mail.
No, I didn't.
And then I lost my receipt. Okay, October, November, you don't have. Next time, he got a partial payment of $200, January 20th. Then he got another partial payment of $75 on February 1st. However, on February 5th, he got $800.
Yes.
So on February 5th, and then on February 24th, he got another $400. So I'm going to take October off because she paid twice in February, right? But she didn't pay in January, the full January. So she owes $325 for January, $525 for November. And then she didn't pay anything in March, but on April 8th, she paid $475. So nothing in March. You have any proof that you paid in March? No. By March, was your rent $450 or was it still?
Because I paid in March.
No, you didn't pay in March. You didn't pay in March.
Like right here.
Well, show me where he acknowledges that you paid in March. The fact that you say you paid in March, checks in the mail, doesn't mean he got it. Just tell me.
It wasn't in the mail. Like, I paid him $400 on the 24th of February. That was March payment. That was for March. I paid him up.
No,
I paid him ahead of time because it was income tax time. Because John is one of them type of...
Listen to me.
I don't owe him anything.
You owed him money from January.
I don't owe him $800 in February covered January and February.
And
That's
what about
where
March?
It came from.
Just a second. You just told me.
And then the other payment, the $400 covered March. That's how the payment got back down to $475, $450, and $25 for the late fee, according to his own text messages.
Just a second.
I don't got time for this get-rich-quick scheme he got going on.
Your Honor, may I speak?
Not necessary. She's got it down pat. She owes you $2,200 in rent. Now, let's talk about the furniture. Who put in that furniture in the salon?
We own that furniture.
That's not
we
what
placed it there.
Just a second. Who put in the furniture in the salon? I'm going to ask you a string of questions. Who purchased the furniture and put it in the salon?
Her mother.
Who's her?
My wife, my lovely wife.
Now, was she in the beauty supply business?
Can I... My wife or...
No, her mother.
No.
Well, you want to tell me how it came about that her mother put furniture in a beauty parlor?
She owned it. She rented it to tenants, and that was a part of...
Whose building is it?
It's ours now.
Did her mother pass away?
Yes, ma'am.
Let's make it much easier. You inherited...
Yes, ma'am.
...this furniture, so you did not purchase it. You inherited it.
Yes, ma'am.
When you inherited the building.
Yes, ma'am.
So you did not purchase it, and you are not in the beauty parlor business. Just answer my question. You're not in the beauty parlor business.
No, I'm not, ma'am.
And neither is your wife.
Correct.
How long ago did you inherit the building?
If I'm staying correct, it was 2009, 2008.
When did you inherit the building?
2009.
And your mother was in that business?
My mother was a seamstress.
Okay. She owned the building. She put the furniture in there so that she could rent the place as a salon.
Yes, ma'am.
Great. Stand up, because you have the facts and he doesn't. He's going to make it up as they go along. When did she outfit that store as a salon? In what year?
The year for that furniture was 2002. She has owned that building since...
I just want to know, 2002. Okay. Now we have a jumping off spot.
Okay.
So this furniture that you want me to award you money for, that you never purchased, was purchased sometime on or before 2002, correct?
That's correct.
And for this furniture, you want $1,350 for 3 salon chairs, estimated value $750. 2 shampoo chairs, $300. 1 dryer with a hood, $300. And 1 large mirror. Okay. So that you're not getting. But you're getting the $2,200 in rent.
But that was the cost to replace.
I got a
Just a
receipt
second.
for the rent.
Perfect.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
The only payments I did not pay this man was June, July, and August.
Just a second. In the beginning, you said, I don't owe him any rent. Now you say, well, I do owe him June, July, and August.
According to his own text
according
messages.
To you.
And later today,
What clothing items do you allege that she took from you?
Boots, blue jeans.
Did you take his boots and blue jeans?
I might have took a few items from him, but I put them in a bag and I gave them back to him.
What else? I mean, I don't know what's wrong with you. This is nonsense.
real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Salon owner John Thorpe says stylist LaTanya Rice owes for rent and stolen property.
Okay, what?
I have a receipt for April rent. And like I said, according to his own text messages, I paid him up. He says it in here, the only 3 months he never received was June, July, and August.
Just to show me.
He says it's been 3 months now and no rent.
Just a minute. It's been... Oh, that doesn't mean you only own for June, July, and
But it
August.
says- he
just a
says-
second. I want to see what it says, because if what it says, I haven't heard from you with anything with regard to rent.
Oh, and you can...
What he's saying to you in these series of text messages, I haven't heard anything from you about rent.
You didn't give me a chance.
No. I didn't give you a chance.
No,
I said just show me receipts.
That's all I have. That is it.
April 8th.
But even he give you a printout of his supposedly payments.
He's got this payment here. It's listed here. April 8th, $475. It's listed here as a payment he received from you.
Yeah, but he should be able to... You know what? Like I said, I paid him. The only payments I did not pay this man was June, July, and August.
Just a second.
That's it.
Hey, just a second. So, in the beginning, when you started out with me, you said, I don't owe him any rent. Now you say, well, I do owe him June, July, and August.
According to his own text
according
messages.
To you. No, according to you.
I'm going by the text messages.
$2,200. Judgment for the plaintiff.
That's
We're
fine.
done.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
He got this get-rich-quick scheme going on both of y'all two petty selves.
I really believe that my husband should have put her out a long time ago.
I'm done.
I will listen to my wife more.
And now, the next case.
All parties in the matter of Moore versus White Lee. Step forward.
Isaiah Moore is suing as paid rent and stolen property.
Mr. Moore, the defendant is your cousin.
Correct.
And your complaint alleges the following. You say that there came a time when she and her 2 children were having some difficulties, housing difficulties, and you allowed them to move in with you.
Correct.
When was that?
A little over 2 years ago.
Month and year.
January 2015.
And when did she leave?
April of this year, 2016.
So she stayed with you quite a while.
She did.
And from the time she moved in with her 2 children, did she pay you the $200 rent that you agreed that she would pay?
No, she did not.
Did she pay you at all?
No, she did not.
So she lived with you from January of 2015 to April 2016 and didn't pay you any rent?
That's correct.
And how much rent was she supposed to pay you?
Originally, we had set up a payment plan for her to pay, for us to go Dutch every other month. I pay January, she paid February. I pay March, she paid April.
How much was the rent?
Originally $775 a month.
You were asking for 3 months unpaid rent, but she lived with you, according to you, for over a year and never paid
Her
any
children
rent.
didn't stay with her at first.
What difference does that make?
It made the difference of the fact that I had to make a lot of sacrifices. Financially at work, I had to make a lot of sacrifices as far as family member and transportation.
I see. I'm not crazy about this case at all. Do you understand?
What do you
if
mean?
you let her live with you for you any rent and you had an agreement for $200 worth of rent,
right,
then you forgave the rent. I don't want to hear anything about rent. Rent is gone. Now, next we're going to talk about when she moved out, it is your claim that she took property that didn't belong to her.
Correct.
What property did she take?
Clothing.
Okay. Well, she says that she did laundry, that the laundry all got messed up, and she returned the items of yours that got mixed up with her laundry. After she moved out, did she ever return any items to you?
That's not correct at all.
Just a second. What clothing items do you allege that she took from you?
Boots, blue jeans.
Just as did you take his boots and blue jeans?
I never took the boots, but when I washed and did laundry before I left, I might have took a few items from him, but I put them in a bag and I gave them back to him. He received that stuff back, so I don't...
Next! What else? I mean, I don't know what's wrong with you. This is nonsense.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And later today...
Do you have her keys?
Yes, I have them here, Your Honor.
Would you give her the keys? Sure.
How do I know that she didn't make a copy? I have text messages.
Listen to me. I don't know and I don't care.
Okay, so if my RV comes up stolen, what do I do?
Cry.
Isaiah Moore is suing his cousin, April White Lee, for unpaid rent and stolen property.
What else do you think that she took from you?
She took rims that I paid for individually, $110 for each rim. And I put them in her vehicle. They were there just until I was able to get the funds for me to be able to put them on my car. I come home from work one day, they're not in her car. She doesn't have any idea where they are. She admitted to it.
Neither do I. Well, she admitted to what?
I've got some evidence here, Your Honor.
You mean that she stole the stuff
That
of yours?
she either stole, sold, threw out, or gave them away to her friends.
Well,
that's a whole nother story. She's got a few friends that she likes them.
When did you put the rims in her car? What month and year?
The month that she put the rims in there
No,
was...
not she put them in. You put them in. You say you bought the rims and put them in her car.
2015.
I'm not interested in 2015. We're done here. Thank you very much. This case is over.
Excuse me, step out.
I'm happy everything is over.
Judge Judy just told it all.
I love my cousin.
She didn't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it. I'm glad it's over.
And now, the next case.
All parties in the matter of Swinner versus Pate. Step forward.
Heather Swenor is suing her former friend, Elizabeth Pate, for an unpaid loan to fix up an RV. Elizabeth is countersuing for lock-changing fees.
Swenor, what do you do for a living?
I'm a preschool teacher.
You met the defendant, according to what I read, sometime in March of this year.
Yes.
And she was at that time having some financial difficulty. According to you, you loaned her some money in order to renovate an RV that she could live in, or a trailer that she could live in. Was it a trailer or an RV?
It was an RV.
And how much did you loan her at that time?
$1,542, Your Honor.
For specifically what things?
For her rent, for the RV place, the registration on the RV, batteries to get it up and moving.
Do you have all of those receipts?
I have all the receipts right here,
I'd
Your
like
Honor.
to take a look at them. This is for coffee? Starbucks?
That was from when we went to Starbucks after we left.
I don't do that.
Okay.
Rainbow Market, $22?
Yeah, that was for cigarettes and things for her grandmother.
I don't do that either. In-N-Out Burger? So far I have batteries for the...
Okay.
This is for gas.
Yeah, for the RV to get it to her grandmother's house where she parked it until she could get into an RV place.
On what date?
That was June 26th, I believe.
June 23rd, close enough. AutoZone.
The lens tape for the back of the lens needed to be repaired on the back so she could drive it.
Did you use this? Okay, fine. Tuna fish, I'm not getting involved with. This is the Dollar General store. Okay. I have car battery, $128, and then I have $11 and $33, $105. Now, how much did she give you back?
She gave me $100 in June. She gave me $100 in August, and she gave me $40 in July.
How much did you give her?
I gave her a total of $350.
$350 is about what she says she got from you. All right, you have a stupid counterclaim. You will have 30 seconds to tell me what it's about.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Closed captioning sponsored by...
Have you been cheated? Go to judgejudy.com. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
Go ahead.
My counterclaim begins with she has a set of keys to my RV, and because she has those keys and she has threatened to have my RV taken from me. I need all new locks for it.
It's not happening. Do you have her keys?
Yes, I have them here, Your Honor.
Would you give her the keys? Sure.
How do I know that she didn't make a copy? I have but she has.
Don't know, don't care. There
I
are
have
the keys.
text messages.
Don't know, don't care.
I have
there are
text
the keys.
messages, Your Honor.
Don't know, don't care. There are the keys.
Okay, so if my RV comes up stolen, what do I do?
Cry. Next.
Okay, and I have other evidence in regards to my counterclaim.
Well, just tell me what it is. So far, this is nonsense.
I suffer from PTSD and because of an accident, and I have text messages on my phone from her in regards to that.
So?
So that is why I'm countersuing.
Your counterclaim's dismissed. You've been paid. We're done.
Please excuse me. Step out.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And on the next Judge Judy.
I'm very blessed by what she done for me.
I helped her when she was homeless, living on the side of her grandmother's house.
It ruined a good friendship because, you know, we were very supportive of one another.
No more free rides. I'm not helping anybody else out.
Did you witness Miss Haygood's dog getting bitten?
I don't believe her dog got bitten.
A dog park dilemma.
You say his dog bit yours. He said that they ran into each other.
My dog T-boned the side of her dog. There are sharp objects on her collar, absolutely.
And this owner says she's crying wolf.
My original reaction to it is I was going to take...
Judge Judy.
You are about to enter the courtroom of Judge Judith Scheindlin. This is Judge Judy.
Linda Haygood is suing John Yoakum for vet bills resulting from a dog attack at a dog park.
Order. All rise. It's case number 338 on the calendar, the matter of Haygood versus Yoakum.
Thank you.
You're welcome, Judge. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated. Ladies, have a seat, please.
Miss Haygood, it is your claim that the defendant's dog bit your dog in a dog park.
Yes.
All the dogs were off leash.
Yes.
When did this happen?
On August 28th, a Sunday early morning.
How long have you been taking your dog to the dog park?
About 3.5 years daily.
What kind of dog do you have?
I have a greyhound.
He, she?
She.
How much does she weigh?
About 65.
And you, Mr. Yoakum, what kind of dogs do you have?
German Shepherds.
How many?
3.
And how long have you been taking them to the park?
Well, I haven't had all of them since I've been going to the dog park, but I've been going to that dog park for probably roughly the same time, 3 to 3.5 years.
How many dogs were you with on the 28th of August?
4.
You're 3, and who else is?
I have a 13-year-old white Samoyed, another dog.
So you have 4 dogs?
Correct.
And you had Miss Haygood's dog getting bitten?
I don't believe her dog got bitten.
She'll show me the vet.
Okay.
Did you witness an interaction between your dog and hers?
Yes, I did.
Okay. I want you to tell me what you observed.
Well...
Right here. I want you to tell me what you observed. I read your answer, so now you tell me what the interaction was that you observed.
Her dog was crossing the dog park. There was other dogs coming in the fence line, and we call it fence talk, or, you know, it's typical for the dogs to all run up to the fence. Her dog's coming across the dog park at 30-ish miles an hour. My dog had also taken off to, you know, go fence banter, and, you know, my German Shepherds, the name is Nala of this particular dog.
How old is that dog?
Nala is probably 4 to 5 years old at this time.
Mm-hmm.
So Nala's going as well. You know, the other multiple dogs usually will get riled up when one dog takes off, which her dog went first, and it sets other dogs.
Just tell me what you observed.
What I observed was her dog veered left. There was a tree in the park as it was running to the fence, and my dog T-boned the side of her dog, not anticipating that action out of her dog.
Don't tell me what your dog anticipated or didn't anticipate.
Okay.
Just tell
the
dog
side
mid-sex, the side.
Correct.
Okay, good. Now, may I see the vet reports, please? I'll take a look at the photograph also.
This and this.
Where's the vet's report? This is the bill. Where's the report?
That's a treatment plan that they gave me. It says what the different items that they're planning to do.
You mean your vet doesn't write down what their findings were?
No. They just say what procedures they're going to do.
Okay. What I'd like you to do is to show this to Mr. Yoakum.
Seen it in person, yes.
And you think that that's from your dog T-boning her dog?
Absolutely.
With what?
They have sharp collars on, and just to
Just a
state.
second. Who has a sharp collar on?
Oh, my dog has dog tags on, collar. We have a chain on her, plus her collar. There are sharp objects on her collar, absolutely.
Either way, if you keep the sharp collar on her, that's your responsibility.
For an incidental of two dogs running into each other in a dog park?
That's if I accept what you're telling me happened. Phone here.
Uh-huh.
Did you call Miss Haygood at any time
I did.
that day? Where did you get her number from?
From a woman at the dog park.
Prior to the 28th of August, had you ever called Miss Haygood before?
No.
She wasn't a friend of yours.
An acquaintance at the dog park.
But you didn't have her phone number?
No, absolutely not.
No. And I'd like you to tell me what the purpose was for you calling her on the 28th of August.
I felt awful.
So you called up to say you felt awful, even though, according to you...
My original reaction to it is I was going to take some responsibility.
And then what changed your mind?
Well, for one, I got a letter stating that my dog had bitten her dog, and I don't believe that happened.
Okay,
a Greyhound's coat is very thin.
What's next?
What's next?
I read your answer, and I read her complaint, and from what you just said to me, I don't understand it, and I'm not an expert on greyhounds, but you started to say a greyhound's skin,
Their skin is very thin. It's like a
just
wet paper mache dog running in the
so
dog
that
park.
when she says in her complaint that what you said to her at the time was if it wasn't a greyhound, it wouldn't have been injured.
That's a very good chance of that could be, would not have been punctured, yes, or whatever you want to say. I mean, I'm not using the word dog bite. And just can I say this? If you were going to be in a car accident and you knew you were going to rear end another car or run your mouth on your steering wheel or something, I mean, if my dog's mouth was open, it's because it said, oh, I can't say the words, and it hit. I mean, it was a hard collision.
Mr. Yoakum, I have to tell you that I actually don't think, based upon what the plaintiff tells me, and if this is all you have to tell me, correct? I mean, he described the incident. You say his dog bit yours. He said that they ran into each other, right? You don't have anything else to tell me about his dog. You don't have any proof of any prior incidents with his dog. Do you have any proof with you with regard to any prior incidents with this dog from animal control or anyone else? Any authority?
No.
Well, let me tell you what my view is with regard to people who take their dogs to dog parks, unless somebody knowingly takes a vicious dog to a dog park and they have prior knowledge that their dog is that kind of vicious. That if you take your dog to a dog park and your dogs are off leash, and if there is an incident, you have to take care of the incident yourself. That's what I think. Because your dog was no more under your control than Mr. Yoakum's dog was under his control. Neither dog were under your immediate control, either by way of a leash or within 2 feet. According to both of you, they were running free. And there might be incidents. They're two large dogs. So if you want to prevent that, unless, of course, Mr. Yoakum had prior knowledge that there were prior incidents involving his dog, which would be your burden to show me. But I believe that you assume a certain amount of risk when you take your dog to a dog park, don't you?
Yes.
Yes, you do. And if you said my dog was under my control, but his dog was not under his control, well, that's a different story. But both dogs were out of the control of their owners. So I don't think he has any responsibility. So it's not that the greyhound's skin was too thin, or maybe it was the collar, or maybe it was the dog tag, or maybe it was something else. I think that people who take their dogs, large or small, to a dog park have to recognize that sometimes dogs will be dogs. Their conduct isn't always predictable. And what might get them riled up one day wouldn't necessarily the next day. And they may get into a frenzy because there are lots of other dogs there doing lots of other things. So I don't think Mr. Yoakum actually has any responsibility to you. And I think that if you have a dog and you want that dog to be safe, you keep the dog on a leash and you walk it. And if you don't, then you assume a certain amount of risk. That's it. We're done.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
At first, you know, looking at it, I was upset. I was upset for her.
He just said that he knew his dog bit my dog.
My dog has never bit another dog in the dog park.
I think it's a joint responsibility.
I felt bad.
And if my dog did damage to someone...
I don't think that my dog did anything wrong.
She's fine. That's the important stuff.
And now, the next case.
All parties in the matter of Henderson versus Roberts. Step forward.
24-year-old Carolyn Henderson is suing Stephanie Roberts for unpaid car payments and repair costs for a car she leased to her.
Ms. Henderson, you were looking for somebody to take over your car lease. After graduation from college, according to you, were going abroad to teach. You had a car, couldn't afford both. Where did you advertise?
On Craigslist.
You never met Miss Roberts before?
No, I haven't.
So on what date did you make this arrangement with her to take over your lease?
On February 13th, 2015.
And how long did she have the car?
She had it for less than 10 months.
How much less than 10 months?
She had the car from February 15th, 2015 to November 22nd, 2015.
9 months. And what were you supposed to pay each month for the car?
$290 a month.
Directly to the bank or directly to the finance? To her.
Yes.
Did you pay her $290 9 times?
No.
How much money do you owe her?
None.
Well, if you had the car for 9 months and you were supposed to pay her $290.
I was paying her more than $290 about halfway through that 9 months. And I also paid her for any late fees.
Should have paid her $2,610. How much did you, if you don't know how much she paid, I rely on her records. How much did she pay you?
Total within the...
How much did she pay you? She doesn't know how much she paid you. So
she paid me $290 each month.
No. Total.
I don't have the exact total. I have, so starting on June...
All right, I just told you.
On September...
I have no time for this. Would you give up my little calculator? 9 months, $290. She should have paid you $2,610. How much did she pay you?
So she paid me $2,610. On September 11th, I raised the payment to $440.83.
You can't raise the payment. You can't unilaterally raise a payment.
She sent me the odometer on September 3rd, and it was already 6,072 miles over her limit of 12,000 miles.
She paid you $2,610. That's what it is. You can't unilaterally change a contract unless you have that in writing from her that she agreed to it. Do you?
Yes, I do.
I'd like to see it. No, it says in September you made an official notice for repossession of the car. That's what you wrote in your complaint.
I did. On September 2nd, I sent her the first notice of repossession, of demand to receive of insurance, proof of...
All right, she paid you to... Listen. I don't care.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
What do you claim was in the car when she repossessed the car?
2 car seats and clothing of mine and my children's.
What was clothing doing in the car?
We were living in that car at one point.
And later today...
Did she say she had the money?
Yes, she did.
No, she didn't. She said, I don't have the money, but I can take out a cash advance.
So she told me it was no problem.
Did she or did she not tell you that she could take out a cash advance?
Yes.
Well, that's a problem.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Carolyn Henderson says Stephanie Roberts owes for car payments and repair costs for a car she leased to her. Stephanie is countersuing for the value of her belongings.
Now, she had the car 9 months. $290 is what you agreed to. $290 you got each month for the 9 months that she had the car. I
didn't get $290 for the month of November. She never paid me for the month of November.
Just a second. Just a second. You repossessed the car in November. She didn't have the car for the whole month of November.
No, she didn't. She had it until the 22nd. Her payment was due on the 12th. She was 10 days.
I don't care. I'm not here to discuss 10 days with you. You had a right to repossess the car because, according to her as well, she was late with payments. But you got all the money you're going to get from her for payments to the car. Now you say there was damage to the car, and because the car was so much over mileage, you were forced to buy it.
Mm-hmm.
Not a that would be a yes.
Yes.
And when did you buy the car?
I bought the car in January.
January of this year?
Yes.
Do you still have the car?
I do.
Good. I hope you enjoy it. You have no case. Now, next, what do you claim was in the car when she repossessed the car?
2 car seats and clothing of mine and my children's.
What was clothing doing in the car?
We were living in that car at one point.
Bye. Your case is dismissed. So the countersuit. We're done here. Thank you.
Why did you excuse me? Step out.
I think that she's just unhappy. I repossessed it herself. With her decision. I didn't until she told me the address of where it was. I don't think we even needed to be here. Which it was in front of a homeless shelter. She came and took it without notice. Drove it off. I will never do it again.
And now, the next case.
All parties in the matter of Jolly versus Frazier. Step forward.
Jessica Jolly is suing her former friend, Jennifer Frazier Juice.
Miss Jolly, you and Miss Fraser were friends.
No, ma'am. She's my brother's cousin.
But you know her, so
Yes.
you were friendly. You're not related by blood. You were friendly with her.
Yes.
And she had some financial issues that she approached you about when?
On August 8th, 2016.
What were your financial issues?
I had to put a deposit down for one of my utility bills.
Do you work?
I do not. I am a stay-at-home mom.
Who supports you?
I have my son's disability and child support.
How old are your children?
12, 10, and 4.
Well, your son's disability is for your son.
Yes, I got laid off work because I was having heart problems. So I didn't go back to work, and I stayed home with him.
When?
I was working in January for a few months, and then they laid me off.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Have you been recently hospitalized for any mental disease or defect?
No, ma'am.
Well, something happened in the last couple of months that suggests that she believes that you're supposed to pay her back.
She told me it was a gift.
She's lying, Your Honor.
Put your hand down. Don't need you.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Jessica Jolly says former friend Jennifer Frazier owes for a loan and for causing her to miss work.
So you needed money for a utility bill, otherwise your utilities were going to get cut off?
No.
Where were you moving to?
I moved out of my old house and got my own house.
That you rent?
Yes.
When you asked Miss Jolly for this money, what did you tell her?
That I needed it to pay off one of my bills.
Did you tell her what bill?
I did not. I just told her I had to pay. Needed financial help.
No, that's not. You didn't use those words when you said that.
I had to
She's
pay
a
a bill.
working lady. She doesn't make a lot of money, so you would have to have told her that you needed money, like you just told me, to put down in a deposit for your utility bill.
Yes, Your Honor.
And what did she say to you? Did she say she had the money?
Yes, she did.
No, she didn't. She said, I don't have the money, but I can take out a cash advance.
Well, she told me it was no problem.
Did she or did she not tell you that she could take out a cash advance?
Yes.
Well, that's a problem. $500 that she gave to you wasn't money that she took out of a large savings account. In order to give you the money, she had to take a cash advance out of her credit card that she has to pay back, right?
Yes.
And whose choice is it to be a stay-at-home mom? That would be yours. So why now, when somebody who is not related to you by blood shows you a nice gesture and says, listen, if you're strapped, I'll take a cash advance out and give you the money, why wouldn't you pay her back?
She told me it was a gift.
That's not true, Your Honor.
Well, if she told you it was a gift, then why do you think she's here today?
No idea.
Are you taking any psychotropic medication?
No, ma'am.
Have you been recently hospitalized? Well, something happened in the last couple of months that suggests that she believes that you're supposed to pay her back.
I'm telling you, she told me it was a gift. And to pay my bill off because of the kids.
She's lying, Your Honor.
I don't believe that at all. Put your hand down. Don't need you.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Closed captioning sponsored by.
Have you been cheated? Go to judgejudy.com. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
Now, I would listen to that argument if she said, I have money in my savings account. If you're really strapped for cash, let me make this easy for you. Are you paid by the week?
I get paid weekly, yes.
Are you an hourly worker? Or?
I'm a temporary employee. I get paid hourly.
And what's your hourly wage?
$15.78.
$15.78. That means she has to work about 33 hours. She has to work 33 hours in order to give you $500. That's what the computer says. Do you have any interest on this money?
There's a fee for the loan itself.
And the credit card company?
Yes. The
how much were
advance
the
has
fees?
a fee of $65.
Anything else?
I also lost wages trying to work with her to get the loan repaid.
Next time, don't lend anybody any money that you have to take out a loan for.
I lost the wages trying to meet with her on my lunch hour, and she didn't show.
You don't get paid for that.
She stood me up at least 7 times.
Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $565.
What about the
We're done.
harassment?
Your
Thank
Honor,
you.
I have
Harassment at 11 o'clock at night.
Harassment?
Came to my house.
These are excused. You may step out. Quiet.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And on the next Judge Judy.
They claim that I was harassing them. They just said that there was harassment trying to collect on a debt that she said that she would pay me back.
She would show up at 11 o'clock at night and then show up at 6 o'clock in the morning and kept blowing my stuff up.
She was more than a friend. She was a sister to me. She lived with me when I was younger.
Because she was a close family friend. She said, I understand you have kids. Here you go.
It's absolute betrayal. I can't believe she did this to me.
I think it's ridiculous because she gave it to me as a gift so I could pay my bill off, and I had extra money, so I paid on some of my friends' court issues, and I think it's crap.
I don't know how far our friendship will go as far as being repaired after this.
It's done.
I will not be borrowing her money again.
Because if she wants to be rude, guess what? It's not